to pick him up first up.
So we're set to go. The umpires this afternoon, James, Rowe and Woodcock. And the opening bounce over the top, Stafford down to Johnson. Immediately kicks inside the 50. Hadrill was there behind Fiora. Roden, was he taken high? I think so. No free kick. Bit lucky, the Dockers will have a ball up.
We'll get some matchups from Terry in a moment. Some interesting ones set to come this afternoon. Hall and Simmons lock arms. Hall, the man winning it down. Peter Bill, he'll see plenty of it this afternoon. Tigers emerge. Hurried shot towards goal. Well, Aludley on Cameron, over for a boundary throw-in deep in the Tigers' attacking zone.
Well, the first thing that's noticeable, Clinton, is that Richmond have gone for a very small forward line. They've only got Hall virtually as the only key position player up there, playing guys like Blumfield and Leon Cameron in key positions.
Cameron kicking 4 against the Bulldogs last week. Simmons over the top, winning it down. Cook goes without it. Here's Kane Johnson for Coughlin. Good tackle by Grover. And forces a boundary throw in about 35 around from the Tiger goal.
The one thing that the Richmond side will try to do is keep the game as tight as possible, keep it played in close to the packs.
Brown with Seagate, Haynes and Justin Longmuir starting on the bench for the Dockers. Richmond attacking still. Ball not going anywhere in a hurry. Simmons flicks it out. Coughlin shovels it forward. Dockers with numbers. Cook for Pavlich, Walker, and the Dockers are away.
Short one to half back. Well worked. Simmons pushing up the ground. On his defensive 50, miscues with a kick. Chappie played it pretty well. Campbell going to the ground. Fiora taken high, and he'll get the free kick. Pavlich coming hard, but in fact it's coming back. Campbell initially must have been taken high, because no doubting that was high as well. Wayne Campbell chips it across the ground. Rogers about 60 metres from goal, goes inside the 50, and the mark is taken by Rory Hilton about 10 metres in from the line.
Well, the Fremantle side just forced themselves back inside 50 and left Rogers with far too much room out on that outer side there. And if you're going to allow access to the ball like that too easily, the Richmond side are going to find a way to get through to goals.
Not the toughest kick in the world, this one. Probably started between the far goalpost and behind post, and let the work be done by the Breeze, and that's exactly what he's done. Bends it back. First blood to Richmond.
Well, it was really too simple. There's no doubt that Fremantle, their concentration was to just push back into the defensive 50, leaving Rogers open as just outside the 50-metre area, and it just allowed too easy access to goal.
Rory Hilton adds to the goal that he kicked against the Bulldogs last week, so averaging a goal a game now across the early going of the season. First blood to the Tigers. The former Saints, Stuart Lowe, on the Richmond coaching staff these days. Happy with what he saw early. Back in the centre, Stafford winning it down convincingly. Johnson, though, able to take it with Joel Bowden. And we will have another bounce. Coughlin, the matchup on Hazelby. Looking forward to that one after Hazelby had 37 touches against the Swans last week, a career best.
He's really taken another step, Hazelby, there's no doubt.
Now, crowded centre zone here. Grover's pushed off it. Tigers away. This is Hilton. Delivering inside 50, maybe the target was Fiora. Bounces wide at Blumfield. Hadrill for Hayden, and the Dockers have some room to work with on this members' side. Now Cook. High ball towards centre half forward. Here's Hazelby, and a piece of the jumper being held by Chaffee. Took the mark anyway. And we'll get a good gauge of this Breeze as he will kick from just on the 50 directly in front.
Very interesting seeing this young boy. He's been really developing over the last couple of seasons. Probably, really, from what I've heard over the summer, he's really stepped up a level.
Their top pick in the draft a few years ago. That one's going to hold up in the square. Stafford doesn't concede a behind and fists it over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Wasn't a bad kick, though, was it?
The one thing that Dockers are going to have to learn kicking up to the city end is that you've got to keep the ball low. If you get it too high, it was a driving kick, but you've really got to punch the ball into that city end goal.
Hazelby, dogged with a back injury for most of last year, fully fit this time around. Knocked down by Sandilands. Down goes Kellaway, and that ball, I doubt, is coming out. We'll have a ball up about 25 metres from the Dockers attacking goal. They lost the toss. They're working into a Breeze. The officials this afternoon, James, Rowe and Woodcock. Tigers with the opening goal, Rory Hilton. Danny Frawley working the phone. Stafford working it down to Roden, gets a hand pass away. Gaspar back to Roden on the burst up to half back. Kicks it high towards the wing. Well weighted kick too. Blumfield couldn't hang on. Spilled in front. Perhaps was being held. Grover on one knee. Got it to Bell. Feeds it back. Sandilands the big fellow. Well, it's not Sandilands. It's Simmons. Too nimble for the other. He kicks it down towards the attacking 50. Gaspar goes up and takes a timely defensive mark. The former South Fremantle player.
He has a job on Crow today.
Taking some time now, surveying his options. To the left, to the right. Now might be told to get a move on. And goes direct to the centre circle. And a well-weighted ball for Coughlin. Now has Chaffee on the members' wing. Goes to him. Closes to 55. Long ball towards the goal square. Hall the target. Goes past both he and Pavlich. Boundary throwing. Tigers deep in attack.
Once again, Richmond attacking through the same side of the ground, the members' side of the ground again, and it's obviously a ploy that they're working to get the ball to that side.
Simmons to contest with Hall. Hall in front. Gets it on the second effort. Finds an opening. Hurries the ball forward, but Pavlich is back there. One man relieved to not see Matthew Richardson out there, given what happened the last time these two clubs met. The target, McManus. Under some pressure here. Tivendale, good work. Crowed for Cook. Has to be quick. Tivendale the spoil. Now Woods is tied up. Tigers a chance. Johnson for Fiora. For Coughlin. Whoops. Back to Fiora. Ducks out of one tackle and then is scored high. Might be advantage play on. It is. And Coughlin goes to the pocket for Hall. Just beyond his grasp. Does he keep it in? No. A boundary throw in left forward pocket.
Well, Coughlin's let Hazelby go. Hazelby's pushed forward, and they've decided that Chaffee will take him when he goes forward, and that will allow Coughlin to remain on the ball.
Tossed in, deep in the pocket then. Ball was up, flicked it back. Roden's got it. And that spark I talked about last week in evidence again early here. Good young player, David Roden.
Well, he is a spark player, as you mentioned, Dennis, and what a fantastic duel that'll be today between him and Bell. Both just nip at each other's toes the whole game, and I think we'll see a fair bit of sparks out of that one.
Kicked a couple last week, did the young man they call D-Rod. And we know he's quick. His uncle John represented Fiji in the Olympics in the 100-metre sprint, Terry. Some good breeding there.
Absolutely. Well, that's how you like the moment. The game is played with athleticism in this day and age, and you've just got to be quick and sharp around the packs.
Tigers with the opening couple. Simmons may have got his hand to it. McManus on a collision course with Coughlin. Hazelby's tied up, did well to get boot to ball. Bell with Bowden, and that's going nowhere. Sean McManus was amongst that crowd. See that his cousin Rove McManus, the television personality, named the Dockers #1 ticket holder this week.
Yeah. It was a very interesting one, wasn't it?
Bounce, Simmons for Cook. High one says, try and pluck this out. Midhurst will fly, we know that. Almost had it too. Tigers with numbers. Kellaway and Chaffee working hard. A bounce, maybe the best result. Tigers with the opening couple of goals. The Dockers yet to score.
Well, they've set the scene early, the Tigers. I think they've sort of said, well, if you want to knock us off over in our home territory, you've got to come to play.
Bounce about 35 metres out. Big fellows lock up. Sandilands may have won it. To no avail. Rogers hurriedly onto the boot towards the outer side. Awkward bounce for Simmons. Roden once more. Tackle from behind by Hayden. Charging in there was Grover. Well played. Knocked it to the advantage of Hayden. He's in trouble. Roden picked his pocket. Cameron's away. Sweeping hand pass. Chaffee released on his left side. Dangerous. Pulls it back towards the kickoff line. Reaching over the top was Woods. Taken by Hall. Gets a hand pass away. Hadrill under pressure. Gives it to Woods. Kept his head. Simmons on the outer side, half-back flank. Spots a man to the wing. Longmuir. Troy Longmuir plays on. Probing kick inside the 50. Stafford comes back. Juggles the mark. Will it be paid? No. Medhurst got a boot to it. Headland wants a free kick. And he's going to get it. He was taken high. There's Headland. I think the train driver is a Tigers supporter. Watch it again. Ooh, marginal, but there. There can't be that many people on the track. Headland comes in and kicks inaccurately behind.
Well, it had the desired effect. There he goes.
He started doing that in Footscray.
Puffing Billy's come to town.
Tiger fans looking forward to seeing Roden in action. Look at the tenacity from the young man. Didn't give that ball up. Back to live action in the centre square from the kick in. Cameron caught, got the hand pass to Stafford. High one towards Roden again. And some holding on against Roden on this occasion. And Hayden will take it down back for the Dockers. Advantage paid. Target forward is Troy Longmuir. Richmond get the free and it's advantage play on, and they've got some room to run. This is Hilton to the wing. Sweeps the hand pass inside. Campbell got a kind bounce. Can go long towards the pocket for Roden, doubling back. Will it sit for him? Hayden gave him a little nudge. Does well. And now Hadrill for Woods. And the Dockers can switch to the outer side, and the target is Simmons.
And here's running, left half back, up towards half forward. Medhurst, good talking. Looks across the ground. Eventually gets it on the bounce to Walker, outside the 50, upended as he kicked, effected the kick. Gaspar the mark. Rebound opportunity for the Tigers. They're away. Kellaway to Hilton at half back. Nobody near him. And he's running. What about a hand pass? Passes the wing. Broke stride. Now he's got a problem. Indiscriminate hand pass down towards half forward. Chaffee sold into trouble. Fiora to Campbell. Well, the Dockers should be very happy with that result. Carr, McManus running from half back. That's their side of the ground. They'll put a flag up out there shortly. This is Walker. Dockers attacking on the Great Southern Stand side. The Tigers on our side. McManus kicks inside the 50. Hazelby missed it. Well done by Sandilands. Here's a chance for Headland. Stolen by Farmer. Farmer's hand pass to Sandilands. Not the best option. Oh, well done, big fellow. Back to Farmer, kicks a goal.
Tremendous play by the big fella. He summed up the situation very well. We had a bit of circle work going on for a minute or so where the ball just went down one side of the ground then back out the other side, but Sandland's worked this out very well, drew Farmer and allowed him to kick the goal.
He'd love being back on this ground, wouldn't he? Gee, the Tigers did their best to create nothing out of something when they were bringing it down the members' wing. A pensive Danny Frawley watching on as it gets a little bit grim overhead. That's by way of the weather and the situation for the Tigers as Simmons finds Cook, goes towards Sandilands. Medhurst. The Dockers could be in front here. High ball by Paul Medhurst to the pocket, chasing it down Farmer. It eludes him. It's a behind for the Dockers.
Well, most of the scoring over the first few rounds has been done at the punt road end, so anything that Fremantle do this quarter will be handy for them.
Tivendale to Hilton. To open space. Kellaway leads in the race. Marginally had a win there against Longmuir initially. Longmuir fought an honourable draw on his knees. Johnson was pushed in the back. Advantage will be paid. Conlon onto the ball on the wing for the Tigers. Kicks inside the 50. Pavlich is down there. Did well. Worked in front. Knocked it away from his opponent Hall. And out of bounds it goes. Right on the 50.
With Hall playing deep at full forward, it's probably taken Pavlich out of his more natural position. He's virtually playing as a full back at the moment, and the Fremantle side wouldn't really want that.
Halfway through this opening quarter, Tigers by 4 points. In attack here, Campbell ready for the crumbs. Has got it. Grover's got he. Tivendale can't shrug McManus. Bowden clever to knock it on. Had no support, and they will switch it away, the Dockers. Bell for Hayden, for McManus. Slowed down by Fiora. And now McManus takes on Fiora and gets past him. Will go down the centre. Delivery to Crode. Made him work. Crode couldn't haul it in. Gaspar now. Out wide for Stafford. Going backwards but maintaining possession. Rogers to Gaspar. Got to keep it in. Slips. Keeps it inside the chalk just. Not a good one for Tivendale, and Bell sees it over for a boundary throw in on the outer wing.
Well, it was a little bit sloppy, and that's the one thing that the Tigers have got to try to play a straighter game this week. Early last week, they fumbled around with the ball and misused it on occasions. They've got to try to straighten their game up and go through the middle corridor.
Tossed in out of side. Simmons, clean possession. Well done by Campbell to Johnson to Coughlin, smothered off the boot. Cook, interesting kick. It went at right angles. Not a good result. Tivendale, forward of the wing, kicks inside the 50. Bowden, strong mark. It was coming low and hard. And Carr is good in the air, but Bowden, both hands to it, vice-like grip.
Lovely kick by Tivendale. He's a beautiful user of the ball, and playing off a wing, you've just got to give him attention. You can't allow him to have too much time and space by himself. He was just allowed out the back of the pack that time. The delivery was excellent to Bowden, but a very, very strong mark by Bowden overhead.
Playing his 111th consecutive game for the Tigers. That's imposing. He'll kick from 35. Looks pretty good off the boot. Needed that one. They've got their third.
It was a good settling goal from the Tigers. They really did want to get that one on the board. They've had enough attacking opportunities up until that point in time, and probably the error of Bowden's game that was let him down a little bit last weekend. He got plenty of the football, but just his delivery and disposal wasn't up to speed.
And for Joel, good to have the supporters on side early because if there's one player that is derided by his club's own supporters for the Tigers' sake, it's Joel Bowden.
Yeah, look, his form was excellent last week, but just his delivery wasn't. You'd rather be getting the ball than not.
Bowden's goal giving the Tigers a 10-point lead. Breeze, tricky. Rain, imminent. Match, an arm wrestle. Tigers by 10 points. Now Sandilands in the ruck. For Bill, for Hazelby. Dockers get the clearance. That had some carry for Medhurst. Couldn't get back there though, and Kellaway relieves the pressure for the Tigers as he goes out wide. Now Chaffee has support from Rogers. They might turn it over from a 2-on-1. They do. Hazelby drops it inside 50. Too much for Headland though. Gasper couldn't control it. Crowed for Pavlich. Hurried kick at goal. Hooks it and just squeezes it through for a behind.
Well, they've worked Pavlich up the ground, which is exactly what they were looking for, and he's virtually playing as their ruckman at this point in time.
Kick comes in to Johnson. Fremantle doing very well in the centre square. It's become a long field for the Tigers. Bowden flicks it out between his legs. Taken away by Campbell. Goes towards half forward. Well done by Roden. Coughlin played 12 games with the Perth Football Club. Not a good kick though. It wanders down towards full court. Could have done better. Paul, no free kick. Picked up by Walker to Woods. And Woods out of there, so to speak. He comes out wide towards the boundary and it bounces out of bounds. We'll have a throw in, and the crowd not happy with Messrs James, Rowe and Woodcock about a non-decision about 15 metres out. Well, Stafford was the man in front. Was he pushed in the back? It was close.
From the throw-in, Sandilands reaching over the top for McManus. Does well to work himself out of trouble there. That was nice. Bell seeing plenty of it early. Towards Medhurst in the middle. And strong hands in front of Zantuck. Good play and gets up quickly. Wants to go. Out wide for Brown. Marks just beyond the 50. Distance too far. Kick smothered by Hilton. This is Headland off balance on the left. And the tumbling shot at goal missing to the near side. So the Dockers getting some chances. 1-4 their net return now.
They rebound the ball very, very hard and quickly from the back end of the ground and really run hard once they get their opportunities. Young Brown, watched him last week and wins plenty of possession of the ball. Just needs to just settle himself down a little bit with delivery.
Tivendale takes a chance. Bowden wrestled down by Bell. Case of who gets up quickest. Bowden does. Chaffee, so often their escape valve out of defence. Chips it wide. Johnson, wonderful acquisition. Forward of half back, goes towards half forward. Blumfield blow down, good grab. Another recruit, 75 metres from goal. Stafford offers a lead. Will he get there in time? Well, he was passed as they approach the ball by Simmons. Grover, hand passes away. Hadrill kicks it up towards the wing. Oh, well done, Zantuck. Knocked it to his own advantage. Could have been pushed in the back. Goes across the line. Doesn't matter, boundary. Throw in right on the wing.
Well, the ruck scenarios are interesting. Simmons is going everywhere with Stafford. When Stafford's on ball, Simmons is with him. When Stafford goes to full forward, Simmons is at full back.
It's Hall and Pavlich at the moment. Tivendale for Campbell. As long as he gets his kick up towards half forward and gains 30 or so metres for the Tigers, and we'll have another boundary throw-in.
As you say, Clinton, that allows Pavlich to actually get up the ground and play as a mobile player up the ground, virtually rucking it at any point in time.
Very impressive last week. 27 touches against the Swans, and he fished this one forward towards the line. Farmer keeps it in, but gee, he was trying to gain, what, at best 4 or 5 metres, and he puts it out on the full. Arguably, given what happened last night at the Telstra Dome, would have been deliberate anyway. Newman for Rogers, deep to full forward. Stafford's caught behind Simmons here. And Troy Simmons has the mark in the back pocket.
Backing his judgment well at fullback.
Decides to go short as Hayden in some space. Now, he'll look to go down the middle with one bounce. Shows a turn of speed. Long entry inside 50. Justin Longmuir getting back, but Kellaway read that ball beautifully.
Wonderful mark.
That's when Kellaway's at his best, when he's going backwards to take his marks.
Goes in short. Johnson finding space. Goes wide. Hilton. Nobody near him. Coming across to corral him is Headland. Hilton goes down towards the 50. Ill directed a couple of times now. Hilton's had a chance. Hasn't used the ball. Hadrill went back, took the mark. This is Brown. He's a lively customer. He's away on the wing. High ball down towards half forward. Tailor-made for the defenders. Gaspar was up, tried to knock it away. Zantuck in trouble. One way, then the other. Newman. Hand passes in front. Clever by Medhurst. Into the path of Pavlich. Deep in the pocket. What was he thinking? Newman came up behind him, got him. And eventually they'll clear the zone. Zantuck got it to Bowden. Swings it out wide. Here's a chance again for Chaffee.
And he has plenty of room to work with if he can control the Sharon. Does so eventually. And now just ambling on a Sunday afternoon. A stroll down the MCG wing towards Cameron. Nudged under it by Walker, and he's got the free kick. Close to the boundary line on 50. 4 minutes remaining in the quarter, Terry. It's been an arm wrestle to this point, but if the Tigers can break through here, it'll become a handy lead. He's kicked inside 50 for Blundfield, not good. Campbell's there. Hurries one at goal. He celebrates game number 250 in style.
Well, that's an excellent kick by Wayne Campbell. Very, very difficult kick in football is to pick the ball up off one step, be able to drive the ball any distance whatsoever. And Cameron, as we watch here, looking for the lead, was chipped off very well, but Campbell reading the play, a one-step kick, and an excellent goal on his 250th game.
Wayne Campbell coming up 28 possessions last week. Just finds the football. Rucks go at it. Longmuir knocked it down. Campbell. Hazelby did well. Longmuir. McManus under pressure. Took a hard fall. Gained about 35 metres towards half forward. Crowe gives away a free kick against Hilton. Can't be doing that. Much taller than Hilton. Hilton kicks it out wide. Gaspar running with the flight of it. Brown closing. Gaspar too strong, too nimble. Kicks inside the 50. Hadrill camped in front. Good mark. Hot back. Stafford came very hard, as he's wont to do. Found some body. All angles and points, Greg Stafford. Watch this again. And there's one of those points, and that's not on. Ball to the other pocket meantime. Carr off a step to Hayden. He's getting a reputation around the league, Greg Stafford.
That one could be looked at again. Hayden will square it up for Walker. Tigers flooding the midfield. Walker with a long bomb inside 50 for Medhurst. Carries he. Headland's gone down heavily and is still down as Newman's kick finds the boundary line. So a couple of groggy dockers out there.
Well, that was excellent play by Greg Tivendale, who saw the ball coming in deep, left his own direct opponent as a wingman and flew as a third man in. There was nothing wrong with that piece of play at all. It was excellent defensive work.
Edlin waves the trainers away. Campbell for Kane Johnson. Hazelby about to grab him. Found Hilton. Richmond can look to build. Now they can go. Johnson for Campbell for Hall. Under pressure with the kick towards Coughlin. Running out of room. Taps it in But Cameron, he can do nothing with it. We'll have another boundary throw-in.
Well, sometimes when you're watching the screen, you wonder why the player would have done that piece of play, why he wouldn't have kicked the ball deep into the defensive or the offensive 50. There was just nothing on. There was 3 Dockers down there, so we had to look to the boundary line.
Medhurst coming off for the Dockers, replaced by Troy Longmuir as the Tigers win a free kick for Roden. They've left the man one out from the square leading. That's Bowden. Dropping back Grover into the hole was good. Bowden for Kane Johnson. Pettifer just on the ground, caught by Carr, high tackle. And Kane Pettifer's first touch this afternoon will be a shot at goal with a tick under 2 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Peter Bell searching for a replay. Here it is.
Well, I think we've found so far the umpires have made a real determination that if you're going to go in and get the ball, they're going to give you the free kick. There wasn't much in that one at all.
So the Tigers get a break, and now Kane Pettifer can try and make it 5 straight goals. But the Dockers won 4.
To his credit, he was the only one with the head over the ball wanting to win it.
Just the 4 touches last week. How does he start this week? The kick not good, sprays it right across the face, and it's out of bounds on the full.
Well, the more you watch games here, you just cannot kick the ball high at either end of the ground if you're going to get a positive score.
Fleming warming up on the boundary. Here's Hazelby. Across the goal front. Terrible kick. Very lucky the Dockers. Still not out of the woods. Down goes Bell. Was he held without it? Didn't take possession. That's a good call. The umpire only about 15 metres away. Bell, the savvy, knock it away instead of take the ball. Out of defence. Simmons. They've used him a lot coming out. On the defensive 50. Back to Bell. Running up towards half-back. Keen to take responsibility. Not a good kick though. Campbell falling to the ground. Kellaway upended. Farmer arrived quickly like a tractor. Hazelby inside the 50. Bounces in front of Crode. Going back Carr. Hard against the line. Pulls it back towards the kickoff line. Rogers under pressure. Got the kick away. Longmuir. Good break for the Dockers. It stayed in. Comes across to Hayden. Hayden goes in short. And Longmuir, Troy Longmuir, has taken the mark only centimetres off the deck.
Nice play by Hayden. He just summed up his options. He could have gone long to the goal, saw that there was more Richmond defenders back in that area of the ground, and just summed it up very well and hit a leading target.
Well, Troy Longmuir is one man who does know this ground. In the visitors' uniform today, having played 17 games with Melbourne. Late in the quarter, Dockers in desperate need of a goal. Has he delivered? Yes, he has.
Ooh.
A sigh of relief from Chris Connolly.
Oh, it was a valuable goal, and once again what it showed was keeping the ball low down that end. It virtually just got over the heads of the defenders, but that's the only way you're going to keep the ball straight, is just to keep it nice and low and punch the ball in.
Good poise there by Justin Longmuir, close to the boundary line, and with just seconds remaining in the quarter, means the quarter time deficit won't be too great.
Young Hayden's been very impressive off a half-back flank.
7 possessions so far. Walker and Simmons also with that number for the Dockers. Wayne Campbell leading the way with 10 for the Tigers. They lead by 8 points. Stafford with just seconds to go. Blumfield, another Fremantle player's gone down. He gets up quickly. That's Hazelby, and that'll be quarter time.
He wasn't expecting that, Paul Hazelby. The player came straight at him. He was within 5 metres, and he's still feeling the effects. He was watching the footy, and someone zeroed in on him. 24-16 at quarter time. I have to say, Terry, the Dockers right in this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they've certainly had enough scoring opportunities at this point in time, and as we've mentioned during the call, that the punt road end is the end where the major scores have been done so far this season.
Quarter time at the MCG on a Sunday. It's the Tigers by 8 points.
Like a tattoo memory, I've just gotta say that she's so hot, I feel warm on.
Tonight, it's the Demons versus the Dogs at the Dome.
This is fantastic stuff.
It's a battle for a place in the 8 when the hot and fiery Demons take on the desperate Doggies. Melbourne versus the Western Bulldogs tonight. Fox Footy Extra.
The Nissan Pulsar is famous for being only $19,990 and for being loaded up with features. Now we're giving the $19,990 Pulsar a very big feature, a 1.8-litre engine. The 1.8-litre, not 1.6, 1.8-litre Pulsar, now only $19,990 with air. Big engine, little price.
Go Harvey Norman for 400 days interest-free. No deposit, no interest, no repayments until June 2004. What a deal. Now's the time to buy electrical, computers and communications, furniture and bedding, and much more. 400 days interest-free. No deposit, no interest, no repayments until June 2004. Minimum purchase $500. Conditions, fees and charges apply. See store for details.
Go Harvey Norman, go!
May the 29th, 1953, the roof of the world is conquered for the first time. 50 years later, the sons of Everest are said to follow in their father's footsteps.
My fears are very great because I know what's up there.
The sons of Norgay and Hillary reunite to enter the death zone.
I don't think we're going to get up at this time.
A National Geographic Channel world exclusive. Surviving Everest. Coming soon.
Dad, can you hear us? Dad?
Thursdays on the Comedy Channel, get ready to advance Australia Fair.
Hey, you must be the Fetagram.
No, I'm the PR consultant. It's part sketch, part chat show, and completely insane. The Michaela program's at 8.
I said you'll be playing centre.
Hi, I'm Russell Coyton. This is my backyard.
At 8:30, it's premiere episodes of All Aussie Adventures.
So, what are we waiting for? Let's get cracking on another All Aussie Adventure.
Oh my God, that's so controversial. I love it.
At 9, go Gaga for that Greek goddess in Effie Just Quietly.
I'm like the Greek Coke.
Wow.
That's the Comedy Channel's You Beaut Oz Comedy Thursday. Thursdays from 8.
White Line Fever. It's got everybody talking.
Thank God your show's back on. Fox Footy Channel's like blood to us up in Sydney.
After last year, I can guarantee there's only one thing on my mind this year.
Let's get the calls. Anthony Rocker seems to be out of breath all the time and doesn't do much until they're going to pick up his act.
Did you see the grand final last year at all?
Well done on kicking that winning goal on Sunday because I tipped Melbourne. I was very late.
White Line Fever. Talkback Television. Live Monday to Friday on Fox Footy Channel.
Good news and bad news for the Fremantle Dockers. They trail, but they've had more scoring shots, as you can see. It's 4 goals straight to 2 goals for. 6 goal kickers in this game so far. I mentioned Paul Hazelby just before the siren. He copped a nasty one. There's the man who got him onto the ground and immediately having an impact. Tim Fleming. Watch this again in the background. Hazelby competes. Nothing wrong with that. Hazelby close to the football and Fleming trying to make an impact as we go down to Wayne Schwartz.
Darren started with a small forward line, seemed to work really well in the first quarter.
Yeah, look, we've got a fair few options up there, Swatter, so some of the quality ball into those guys could be better. You know, we've pretty much dominated the game in all areas. Inside 50s, ball gets, even uncontested possessions, which they are very good at, but we just need to get some more quality balling forward.
Happy with the matchups of Hall and Pavlich and Stafford and Simmons?
Yeah, really happy. It's all working pretty well. Those guys just have to be aware of when Pavlich pushes forward. You know, we were pretty happy with Pavlich playing fullback at that stage, so it was good.
Thanks, Croc.
Old teammates there as we check around the league. 2 other matches being played. If you don't want to know the score, look away now.
Second quarter action underway. The Dockers with the centre clearance towards Farmer and Headland near the pocket, and he'll take it over for a boundary throw in. Richmond 4 straight, the Dockers 2-4. The lights are on here at the MCG. We're told rain is on its way.
Bank 5 is working again too, we can proudly report.
They tested it yesterday morning and said, we don't know what went wrong on Friday night, which is comforting.
Intermittent fault, they're always the worst, aren't they?
Yes.
You just can't afford to be giving away free kicks like that for Sandlin. He's a big boy. All we want is a contest in those sort of areas.
And Stafford finds Chaffey. Back half of the members' wing. Ups it up now out in front of Campbell, who led the way in the opening term for the Tigers with 10 possessions. Has this one forced over the boundary line for a throw-in.
I think the Dockers will be looking forward to Trent Crowe getting into the action. He's been fairly quiet so far, obviously, first game back.
A wrestle. Simmons decides to take it out of the ruck, but do nothing with it. Johnson is dumped by Bell. Will have a bounce.
He's playing as a centre-half forward. Gasper's going with Trent Crowe, and it's almost like as if Trent Crowe's been given the instruction to go up and almost ruck rove to try to get Gasper out of the defensive end.
Confirmation there of the Tiger bench to start this second quarter. Johnson hurries a kick towards half forward. Roden almost as if told to stay out of the contest here by his taller teammate. Sockers it inside 50. They all chase after it. Walker back there first. Did well despite slipping. And Hayden for Grover, for Hadrill. Back for Hayden, still under pressure. Might switch now. Woods. And the Dockers might work that outer wing. It's in front of Seagate, who was the late call-up for Polak.
He's got it at right half back. He kicks down towards half forward, ill-directed. Tivendale running from the wing, kicks down towards half forward. Campbell, hard running by him too, spilt the mark. He's lacking support, wanted the boundary line, nothing doing. Grover, hard against that line, running out of space. Seagate, too high for Walker. That was very untidy. This is Cameron. Hand passes to Bowden right on the 50. Goes in short with poise and finds Hall.
Well, it's a killer in this competition if you can't use the ball, and on that occasion there was twice that Fremantle gave up possession of the football, and it eventually was costly. What happens, as good sides should, they run down the ground, everyone's out of position, the turnover occurs, and you find 3 men inside 50, which Ray Hall was standing by himself.
Hall, kicked from about 35. Not his best effort, didn't get it sweetly. Misses to the near side. Tigers stretch their lead. And Fleming waiting to come on again.
Woods preparing to bring it back into play. Tigers zoning up from the kick in. So Woods drives it long to a contest. McManus and Tivendale both go down. Simmons and Hazelby say yours, so Hall takes it. Now Coughlin off balance with that hurried kick for Campbell. Effective. Goes short. Fiora on the lead. And we know he's a good kick, Terry Wallace. Will kick from just inside the 50.
Yeah, it doesn't really suit him, the left, with it being a left footer on this side of the ground, but he is an excellent kicker of the football. Grover's just got to tighten up on Wayne Campbell here when he's playing as a forward. He's just giving him a little bit too much room. That's twice this quarter already where he's been able to pick up 5 metres on it.
Campbell with 11 possessions to date. Fiora searching for his first goal. Right behind the kick. Perfect. Tigers extend their lead to 15 points.
And for his efforts, he gets to come off the ground.
So he should have missed, stayed out on that side of the ground, and who knows what would have happened. The coach might have forgotten about it in a minute or two's time.
Look, it was an excellent kick, and I mean, obviously, from a coaching aspect, they'd already made the decision for him to come off the ground. He'll take his spot, have a bit of a chat to the coach, and I'm sure he'll be straight back on after putting one through like that. It's interesting, we used to always have an abort system when you're coaching, where if somebody kicked a goal like that, you'd abort the call and the runner would sort of allow play to play on, come back to us as soon as he kicked the goal, because it's a confidence thing for the player to kick one and then he wants to get on with his game.
Common sense. Back in the middle. Stafford knocks it down. Hazelby had it, lost it, falls on top of him. So too about 3 Tigers. And to bounce alongside the centre circle. Wayne Campbell 11 possessions now. He's been very busy. Kane Johnson has 10. Hilton 8. Coughlin 7. Roden 7. They're prime movers, getting plenty of it.
Fremantle need the next goal.
They do. Stafford with the back of the hand. Johnson worked off the ball. Down goes Campbell. Flings it out through his legs. Hayden's got it. Kicks into attack. Sandilands almost. Couldn't hang on. Haynes with courage did well. Knocked it out. Pavlich taken high. And he'll get the free kick.
Well, one thing with the umpires, they've been consistent on this rule for the first 2 quarters of the match. Every time there's been a player inside 50 who's put his head down to win possession of the ball, they've given a free kick for the high tackle.
Matthew Pavlich averaging 26 possessions a game this season, up from 19 last season. As you'd expect, playing in the midfield. Today has been everywhere. Down, back, up, forward. As Terry said, the Dockers need a goal here. Can the best and fairest deliver? Kicks, and kicks truly. Nice goal.
Well, it's a game of momentum, and when you're away from home and all of a sudden you get a couple of goals down, you've just got to hang in, and that's exactly what Fremantle needed, was a goal. And it's amazing how it always comes from your key players in the game. And Pavlich, one possession of the ball, strong possession of the football, and didn't let his side down.
I admire those Tiger fans that said, no, that's not a free, disputing that decision. Good luck. Timely goal for the Dockers. Stafford back in the ruck to contest against Simmons. Simmons wins it down. Hazelby, some spring in the Dockers step now. High ball, Pavlich! Oh, that's a good grab. Now he's about 10 to 15 metres further out from his kick a moment ago. Looks like he's going to back himself. Eyes have not looked for a pass. Crowd and Gasper, we thought, and then gliding over the top, Pavlich. And this would really spark the visitors. Down by 9 points. Pavlich from just beyond the 50. Gives it everything. Going. Close. Distance there. Accuracy just astray.
Well,
but nonetheless, good signs.
I think we might find a move there very shortly. I don't think that you can allow Pavlich to get the number 2 or 3 defensive player, and I wouldn't be surprised if Gasper goes to him shortly.
Tivendale on the break then. Drives it towards the outer side. Gaspar. He's marked the left half back. Plays on immediately. Kicks down towards half forward. Hayden will fly from behind. Roden in front. They juggles the mark. Well done. Kurtz with the idea of going, told to play on, kicks with the left foot, possibly not the best option, and Carr does very well. Carr spots a man in Woods, across the ground. Pavlich offers, that's ignored, goes by hand to Haynes, back to Woods, running it up towards the wing, well worked. Woods a probing kick inside the 50, Sandilands missed it, Hilton edged him out of it, took the mark behind. Roy Jones Jr. fighting out of his division, but having a win. Across to Gaspar. He's in trouble. Well played. Good finish too. Bowden's got it.
Now, doesn't know what to do with it though, as we see Fleming come to the party. The 1-2 with Newman. Now Fleming. Now Bowden. They've got some run up. Boy, Fleming's lining up players all over the place. Another one off the ball there as Bowden delivers inside 50. Coming out, Hall unable to control it, tries to get Woods. Dockers can clear, loose man on this wing, and Haynes finds Medhurst. Had 40 metres of space. Kicks towards centre half forward, and the wrong option perhaps, Terry, as Kellaway marks.
Your vision must be better than that.
Rogers for Coughlin. Tigers rebounding now, the game picking up a notch. And now Coughlin decides to just squeeze the air out of the balloon and will slow it down.
Farmer was 40 metres by himself and is not a happy man with that last kick.
Coughlin, high ball towards the pocket. Well, Medhurst is going to mark this uncontested, I assume. The kick intended for Hall back there. But now the Dockers can look to go themselves, and that's a good mark. Carr against Bowden.
He's very good overhead. Matthew Carr. Not a good effort though, that one. Coughlin. Shown far too much of the pass, took the mark, well done, plays on, Kellaway.
50 metres has been called.
It's going to be 50 games. So suddenly Coughlin well within range. There's a few bonus metres added on. The umpire had stopped and now he What's he doing? He's still shuffling back, is he? Or has the mark been set? Good 50, if where the umpire is standing is the mark.
Now he's crept forward about 3 metres from where he was. He's very unsure.
Hey, hang on, he's an umpire. They're never unsure.
Well, it's very important to get a lead here. As we look across the ground, there's a bit of lightning in the background, and it'll be very, very interesting.
The umpire was precise, and so was Coughlin. It's a goal.
Well, it'll be important for either side to get a break in this game if we are likely to get some wet weather in the second half of the match.
Had a very good year last year, did Mark Coughlin for the Dockers, was named their rising star. Here's the lead up again. Carr from half back. And Coughlin just pinching it away from Haynes. And then just holding him up.
Fremantle are 5-1 out of the centre. They need to win this one.
Melbourne on a Sunday afternoon looking a shade bleak. The lights are on. Trouble for the visitors. A 14-point hole. Simmons wins it down off hands Stafford. High one towards half forward, was touched off the boot. Coughlin claiming the mark, maybe not hearing the call. It'll be a bounce. Umpire giving him that signal. Touched back of the centre square following the Stafford kick. Fremantle can't concede the next one. Simmons again wins it down, again had no support. Johnson though goes without it. It's not coming out of that. An animated Danny Frawley.
Well, certainly the stoppages have been going to the Fremantle side at the moment, and it's an area that Richmond want to pick up in.
Stafford, most players to his right, flicks it in front of Campbell, who fills the hole, and kicks and hits the post.
Well, they set that up very well, the Tigers. They allowed space forward of the ball, and Stafford did a wonderful job. Campbell running onto the football. He's been allowed to win too much footy inside 50 at the moment.
Have to block those runners coming through. We'll have a man that side, though. Just rolling the dice. Almost paying the penalty. Hadrill drives it to the outer side. Good mark behind by Carr. No doubt chastened by his mistake earlier. Will go a little straighter with the kick, and he does to Simmons. A runner cruising past is Bell. One bounce, runs to the 50, goes to Brown. Well, Brown was lining up before he got the footy. Scramble about 40 metres out. Well done by Brown. Tried to go to Crow. Goes on, applies a tackle on Pettifer. Fought back, but the mistake really hurt the Dockers. Bell understands. Brown just committing before he had the footy. There you go. It's back on his hip. He's looking towards the goals.
We just mentioned his poise earlier on in the game, Dennis. That's the one area of his game that he needs to pick up on. He works so hard to win the ball then.
Here's the bounce, about 45 metres out. Stafford is doing a very good job. Pavlich to Carr. This should be a goal. 25 metres out and closing. And Carr pops it through.
Well, again, Pavlich involved in the lead up to that goal. He's just such a valuable player. When he started off the game at full back, I just wondered how long they'd leave him there. But obviously the Fremantle side know his value to the team and got him out of there very quickly.
And Carr made the goal umpire work, but squeezed it home. They stay in touch. Margin 9 points. 8 possessions. To this point in time, Des Headland taking a spell on the bench. We're back underway with Stafford. Now Justin Longmuir in the centre for the Dockers, but it's Chaffee getting the clearance towards half forward. Oh, stretch there. Woods couldn't haul it in. A bounce, the best result for the Dockers. Centre half forward for the Tigers.
Dockers just need a little bit more out of some of their midfielders. They've done most of their best work from half back.
Stafford for Bowden. Bounce important here. Favours Campbell, the skipper. Did he get boot to ball? Bounces tantalisingly away. And through for a behind to Richmond.
I think Wayne Campbell will be a very frustrated man out there at this point in time. He's had 2 opportunities in the last 30 seconds where he could have kicked goals.
The goal umpire unflappable. This goal umpire should be. Short one to the pocket. Here's Grover. Just over 10 minutes till half time. 10 points the difference. Nicely set up this one. A couple of the prime movers for the Dockers. not as prominent in this term, particularly Hazelby. Behind the pack is a chance for Carr. Kicks inside the 50. How will it bounce? Across the ground. Zantuck leads in the race. Gathers it. Tries to come back on his left. He's got plenty of support. Goes to Rogers. Across the ground to Kellaway. To Chaffee. They share it well. To Hilton. Can he finish this time? Hilton to a big roar. Runs down towards the 50. Goes for distance. Stafford dropping back. Fingertips to it. Couldn't control it. Simmons played it pretty well, got back and squeezed him as we go down to Wayne Schwartz on the boundary.
Yes, thanks, Dennis. Both sides, specifically Fremantle, have used all their bench players. Clinton King and Houlihan for Richmond. Clinton King's just come on for his first run, and I can assure you the clouds are coming in, and we're not too far away from some predicted precipitation, gentlemen.
Hope you've got your brolly, Wayne. Hadrill to bring it back into play for the Dockers. Tick past the halfway mark of this second quarter. Again, kicks to a contest. One down. Hall, Coughlin, King. Quick hands, Tigers back towards Coughlin. Beautifully intercepted, though, by Hayden. And now Seagate and Cook can clear. And the boundary line, the best friend for Cook here. Might not reach it, though. Chaffee, nice one-take pickup. Feeds it back for Coughlin. Tigers had plenty of time here. Coughlin goes short. Gee. Disposal not good for Pettifer. Seagart's brought down. No whistle. Near the boundary line. Bang! Crunch. The Tigers going through. And again, gee, Fleming, the first gamer, doesn't mind mixing it up, does he? And we will have a bounce beneath the members' stand.
I bet Carlton are happy he's not at training.
Well, he's certainly letting a few know that he's out there and he's going to mix it up with them.
First impressions count. There's a bounce. Close to the boundary line. Hot ball. Coughlin. Fleming. He can kick too. He puts it inside the 50. Hadrill comes up, takes the mark. Hayden's okay. Depending on your definition of okay.
We think.
There's Pavlich to midfield. Carr looks forward. Farmer. How will he play it? Oh, terrific Newman. Launched himself. Took a wonderful mark. Zantuck. Roden, who started so well. Early bounce. Bowden, he's been good. Bounces. Goes to Cameron. Cameron pops it towards the pocket. The man has to stretch, but takes the mark. That's Fleming. He would be about 45 metres out. Looks towards the middle. He's a long way wide of the mark, and the umpire insisting that he come back.
He wants to give it off.
Certainly. Goes short. Leon Cameron's got it. Wants to play on. Didn't line it up. Bends it back. Oh, what a wonderful goal.
Well, Leon Cameron coming off a bag of goals last week. I don't know how you allow a player like that to be free inside 50. He'd be the first bloke that should be wanting to pick up.
He set it up by finding Fleming, who promptly gave it back to him, and then the wonderful finish by Leon Cameron. Biggest lead of the game now. Tigers by 17 points. 7-4 to 4-5. Leon Cameron with a dynamite goal there. Longmuir palms it down. Again, it's going to be Richmond. You fancy to get the clearance. Bowden, the little toe poke. Kellaway, they're building here. Long ball to full forward. In front, Stafford. Dragged off it by Simmons. Campbell goes without it. Drags down McManus. Still no whistle. Walker's there. He's tied up. We'll have a bounce. Full forward for Richmond.
Well, Fremantle are under pressure here and they really need to answer the challenge once again. I think we are going to have a wet weather second half of this match, so they can't afford it to blow out.
Stafford takes it out of the ruck contest. Snaps one. Bounce important. Does it go through? Yes! Stafford's bounced one home, eluding the desperate lunge of Paul Hazelby. And all of a sudden, as we tick into time on, the margin's out to 23 points.
Well, that's the second time that Stafford's really been able to just dictate the terms in those bounce-ups just inside the 50-metre area, and he probably got a bit of a lucky break that time. Hazelby was probably unfortunate not to be able to run the ball down.
Stafford proving a handful on the forward line. Late last season, kicked some goals. Dangerous customer. Alarm bells sounding for the Dockers here. They need the next one. Backhanded down by Longmuir. Hazelby taken down. Hall scrambles it forward. Juggled attempt at the mark. It's paid. This is Headland. Haven't seen a lot of him. Headland from half back. Goes out wide. Longmuir won't get to it initially. Awkward bounce. Gaspar bringing up the rear. Now he's in front. Well played. Gets a hand pass away. Nicely worked. Campbell's got it. There's a whistle. Tiger free kick coming back to Gaspar. And some rain is starting to fall. Not good news when the score is 52-29 if you're 29. Here's Chaffee. Time remaining. Just over 6 minutes. Chaffee has seen a lot of the football, often unmarked. And now it's starting to come down very hard. Good luck, Dockers. Kicks inside the 50. Off hands. Simmons goes back. Hilton's over the football. Interesting. Newman could have been taken high. Palmer goes in solidly. King close to the line. Can't keep it in. It will be thrown in. Wayne Schwartz will be enjoying this. It's funny, when you're on the boundary, of course, you take a very keen interest in the weather.
It's rain, Schwartz. Less than 6 minutes to play. Simmons and Stafford. Campbell tied up. This is much like Amy Stadium. There he is. G'day, Wayne. Gee, couldn't we afford an umbrella?
Have a look.
Like Amy Stadium last night, it came in the second half there. Stafford wins it down. Clinton King charging through. Sends one towards Blumfield. The former Bomber Clever knocked it out. Fleming hurries a shot at goal. Hooks the kick. Behind.
Well, they've played a very physical game, the Tigers, thus far in the first half, and you would only think that these conditions would actually suit that style of play more. It's very, very important that you adjust your game now and just work the ball as long as you can, get numbers to the front of the position.
Hadrill short to the pocket. The crowd in the exposed areas scampering for cover. The attendance today, 82,000, thanks to the Iraqi information minister. Here's Carr, and dwindling all the time. Carr up towards the wing. Big pack at the drop, knocked forward by Houlihan. On his knees, Rogers. Hilton running out of space. Smothered off the boot there, Campbell, and out it goes. 5 minutes to play to half-time.
He's got to turn up somewhere, doesn't he?
I hope he does. I enjoyed it.
The article in the paper today, not sure whether they were being facetious, a US talk show possibility. Simmons for Carr from the boundary throw-in. He's been impressive this quarter. Brown again goes without it. This time on the outer wing. Houlihan has it taken away by Cook. Long ball inside 50. Dockers have numbers here if it stays in for them. Medhurst chasing it down. He couldn't flick it back. And crunch. And that does not look good for Paul Medhurst.
And if my memory serves me correctly, that's concrete down the bottom, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Well, he's still with the trainer, so he's taken out of the action momentarily. Pavlich, can he lift his team up forward? Coughlin hurries, boots the ball quickly, and Tivendale in the right place at the right time. Medhurst may have to come off there. Looking very proppy. Long ball, target Chaffee. At the back, the sliding Brown gives away a free kick. Things just unravelling a little bit here, Terry, for the visiting team.
Yeah, you must keep your feet in these conditions. If you slide into the ball, you're no good to your side because you're not going to take first use of possession.
Margin 4 goals. Chaffee to half forward. Carr, with discipline, forces it over for a boundary throw-in.
Well, it really now becomes a numbers game. Just getting numbers across to the ball as often as what you can and just outnumbering the opposition because you're going to fumble and scramble it around a fair bit.
Boundary throw in other side. The rain has eased a little bit, but now very slippery. Hall and Grover. Hall with the back of the hand knocked it down. Campbell has been terrific. Kicks towards the pocket. In front, Blumfield. Wood slides in. Blumfield releases the ball. Coughlin out against the boundary line. Decided to have a shot there. Ball sliding off the outside of the boot, out of bounds on the full. So under 4 minutes till half time. And the Tigers have slipped right away. The margin was 8 points at quarter time. Now it's 53, plays 29, a margin of 24. This is Walker, got it from Bell. Oh, that's a real risk. Hand passing in that situation. Roden gets the Simmons still and kicks a goal in the rain.
It's purely and simply mistakes. It's going to be a game now where your errors, you're going to pay for your errors, and there's no doubt that just the mishandle there by Simmons created the Roden opportunity.
And he rode it all the way. Checks the scoreboard. A pleasant sight for Tiger fans. 10 possessions for Roden so far. And the Tigers have broken this one open to lead by 5 goals. Very tough for the Dockers from here. The ball being tossed in the air now from the centre bounce. Hazelby dragged off it by Coghlan. Hazelby hasn't been the same since he copped that very heavy blow in the shadows of quarter time.
Interesting, the Tigers in inclement conditions have been able to kick 9 goals up to this stage. When they had Riches and Ottens there, they struggled to kick goals.
That's right.
Medhurst staying out there. Hazelby for Bell, dragged off it illegally, will get a free.
Just amazing how you can manufacture goals in different ways rather than just looking for the same targets all the time.
Now the Dockers have got some loose men out wide. This is Cook. Runs his full measure, delivers to full forward, over the head of Crode, might go all the way, no. Hits the behind post on the bounce, a boundary throw in.
Well, if Fremantle try to pinpoint to leading targets, they've got no hope in this game. You've got to basically get one of your forwards to stay at home, try to drop it on top of his head and just run your players onto the contest.
Pavlich and Crode lurking here. They might both go up. Crode gets rid of his opponent, gathers the footy, kicks it out of bounds on the full. Tiger free kick.
He had no other option. I mean, that was the right decision to try to take possession of the ball and try to do it. Just the execution just didn't work out for him.
Margin of 30 points and approaching half-time. Houlihan was very good last week. Very precise that time. Blumfield right on the boundary line. The Dockers needing a late goal at least. Blumfield drives it through the wing. Courageous effort in front by Hayden. He's paid a free kick. Stood his ground. They were coming quickly.
Just to think 2 kilometres away, they're playing dry weather football.
Assuming Colo closed the roof in time.
It is amazing, isn't it? Grover and the Dockers would love to be at the Telstra Dome this afternoon. They played some good footy there. The MCG hasn't been a happy hunting ground. Gaspar, Rogers intercepted by Headland. Jams it on the boot and puts it out of bounds on the full. He claims it was touched. But it's going to be a Tiger free kick against the behind post again.
Well, I think Fremantle's set up in their forward end is right now. They've had a couple of opportunities at goal, haven't been able to score with them, but basically they're dragging everyone up the ground and just leaving the 50-metre open so that they can have pot shots.
Tigers would be happy with this scoreline in 2 minutes' time. If they can hold out the Dockers. Houlihan long towards the boundary line. All knocked away. Fremantle with some numbers there, but plenty of black and yellow in the picture as well. The umpire letting it go, hoping it will come out. It can't. And now he's pinged the Tiger Blumfield. Fremantle free. Hadra will take it too far out to score, but will drive them deep towards the hot spot. At the top of the square, Houlihan tried to mark it. Farmer, creative. Peter Bell hurries one at goal. And it was touched off the boot. So regardless of whether or not it was straight, it's a behind to the Dockers.
Well, Belly's not too happy. He didn't believe that it was touched.
He was celebrating, wasn't he?
Yep.
Tivendale's out of the square. There's a bit happening here, and the umpire will ball it up. Gee, they can be pedantic. Here's Bell's kick. If it was touched, it was touched. Houlihan was pretty close. Hard for us to call it. But so often players come out of the square when they kick it in, and now and again the umpires knock them off. Just a timely reminder, I guess.
Well, to say that Fremantle need a goal here is the understatement.
Could be the old 7-point play. Where's Belly? Tossed up. Pavlich knocked it down. A scramble. Campbell has been terrific. Game number 250 swings it very wide. Pitches just inside the boundary line and goes out. Can't be more precise than that.
No, he played for touch and did it well.
Hardly worth foxing it there. A lot of doing and undoing and retying, and it's not easy being a spectator down on the boundary on a day like today. Tossed in, Simmons wrestled out of it by Stafford. Pettifer, there he is again. Campbell floats one up towards the wing, floats the operative word at the moment. Getting back is Grover, running out of space. Goes to Hadrill, who takes it across the boundary line.
Certainly coming down now, Clinton.
It's bordering on snow.
It was a hot day yesterday too, wasn't it? 26, 27.
And at the moment, that's no relief for Wayne Schloss. Margin 29 points. Simmons wins it down. Tigers through Coughlin, getting a little bit of it. That's a nice mark. Hadrill going to square it up for Bill. Time running out. Half a minute remaining. Bill to the wing for Grover. Is there still time for one last mercy dash for Fremantle? Well, no. Grover's turned it over. Roden can send them forward quickly. They've got an open forward zone. Here's a chance now. Fleming, Tevendale, got by one, not the second. McManus, caught. Had Hayden, no time to be finessing now. Crowed. Well, hard to pick up where the ball is. Let's just have the siren and we'll have 20 minutes off to think about it.
Torrential rain at the MCG. It's like a tropical cloudburst, this. Something you'd see at the Gabba. It was forecast. My word, it's arrived. But the Tigers would be very happy with their situation at the major break. Look at that. The visibility virtually non-existent. Earlier in the game, we could see the city skyline. Well, that's gone. But the Tigers have grabbed the lead. They led by 8 points at quarter time. They've extended that. Half time at the MCG on Sunday football. It's Richmond 9-5. Fremantle at 4-6.
Bouncing Burton's out, but Big Baz is in. Today, Sydney versus Adelaide. A struggling Swans clash with a smart Crows team. Are they ready? Find out today here on Fox Footy Extra.
Want to make big savings on your monthly mobile bill? You can with Telstra. Bring your mobile to Telstra now, and with our rewards packages, you can combine your mobile with your Telstra home phone and save 5% off most mobile calls. Package your mobile and home phone with your Big Punt Internet or Foxtel from Telstra, and you can save a big 10% off these calls. Money you can spend on other things. Call Telstra now to find out more.
Any good invention has to stand the test of time. For these would-be inventors from Britain, time is about to turn into a brutal testing ground. Presenting a battle of wits unlike any other. It's reality TV with a twist. What's the Big Idea? Starts Tuesday on Discovery Science.
This April on Fox Sports, Australia's tour of the West Indies continues throughout the month. The only place to watch the live ball-by-ball coverage is right here. That's cricket in April on Fox Sports.
Think you've seen it all? Think again.
The statue of Jesus is bleeding.
That's because every month the Hallmark Channel premieres movies you just can't see anywhere else.
How come we never got married?
You never asked me. There's Jenny Garth and Lance Henriksen fighting to keep a family tradition alive.
There's been a cattle operation ever since it started, and that's the way it's going to wind up.
In The Last Chance,
Together we can all do this.
Jane Seymour gets a second chance at life.
I had the heart of somebody who just died just a couple of hours ago.
Based on a true story, Heart of a Stranger.
None of it makes any sense. What's happening to you?
Tom Selleck and Isabella Rossellini star in a new Western that premiered to record audiences in the US.
He gets to be a cowboy forever, Monty.
Monty Walsh. And when a mysterious young boy arrives in town, a statue of Jesus begins to shed tears of blood.
It's real blood?
We don't know that. It has to be investigated.
In The Maldonado Miracle. All Australian premieres. Available only on Hallmark.
Sky News, Australia's news channel.
Last week on White Line Fever, sparring.
Brett drives a Porsche and I drove a HR Holden when I first started.
Jarring.
As far as actual knee injuries go, Telstra doesn't seem to be any worse than anywhere else.
A real live saint.
I've just signed on for 3 years, and prior to that I was nearly gone.
And the answer to Hagen's prayers?
Well, Carlton's the question. Obviously, you're the answer. Keep up the good work, mate.
Monday, Kevin Bartlett and Carlton star Anthony Koutafidis join me live to dissect round 3. That's White Line Fever.
It's half-time at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Apologies to Foxtel satellite customers for loss of picture. You can see Richmond on top here, 59-30, so the margin is 29 after it was 8 points the Tigers' way at quarter time. Roden has been very busy with a couple of goals and certainly a catalyst up forward for them. Fremantle struggling particularly when the rain came. That didn't help their cause. I think you've got to say that, Terry, and it's going to be very hard from here.
It makes it very tough, Dennis. I just thought that Richmond set their standard early in the game. They come out and played a very, very physical style of game. I think they've been better around the middle of the ground than what the Fremantle side have. Fremantle got most of their run from the back end, but probably the Tiger midfielders have been the key players.
You talk about those midfielders. I touched on Roden, 2 goals so far. He really does spark them up, doesn't he? Last week and again today, particularly early in the game.
Yeah, he's a wonderful player, and he's really starting to mature and develop and believe that he's a top-level footballer, and that's one of the key aspects to playing at this level, that you have that self-belief in your own ability. He'll chase, tackle, he's fantastic at ground level and can kick a goal, which we've seen in the first half.
And he can be physical as well, just his second season in the competition. Campbell feeding that one out. And Roden, the beneficiary, just snapping it back. What about the battle of the big men? I think Stafford's been very influential.
Well, he has, especially when he's done his work down the forward end of the ground. Simmons has basically been given the decision to go with him all over the ground. Whether when he's in the ruck, Simmons is in the ruck with him, and when Stafford pushes to full forward, well, Simmons is playing as a full back. Stafford's major work has been a couple of ball-ups just inside 50, where he's either been able to push the ball to the Richmond advantage or be able to actually take the ball out of the ruck and kick a goal for himself.
And Stafford puts himself about on the forward line. They know he's there, don't they?
Well, we just see that one there. I mean, that's fantastic play from a ruckman to be able to put his body in line like that and be able to win, first possession of the football for his side.
And talking about possessions, Wayne Campbell 16 in his 250th game, very good. Some timely ones, and he generally does the right thing.
Well, he's a wonderful player, 4 times best and fairest winner with the football club. Normally by the time you get to 250 games, you're seeing players just start to fall away in their form, but not this bloke. He's getting better, and I think he's been the dominant player on the ground in the first half. 1 goal, 2. He probably, as we see here, he's had the opportunity of probably finishing with 3 for the half.
At the other end of the ground, Jeff Farmer's struggled a bit. He really hasn't given the Dockers what they thought they were getting when he arrived.
I think that's the case. I thought in the first quarter he looked lively around the action and a couple of chase downs and some hard work, but second quarter he seemed to go out of the game. Sometimes I wonder about his emotions in the game. He had a possession where Medhurst had an opportunity of giving him the ball and he just seemed to drop his head from that point onwards.
Tim Fleming used to be at Carlton. He's moved across to the Tigers, playing his first game this afternoon. The Dockers know he's playing.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. I mean, he came on the ground and wanted to make his presence felt, and when we see here Hazelby knocked off the ball.
What's your call on that?
Well, I don't know whether Hazelby with eyes on the football can expect to have that sort of contact made on him.
Okay, so you think more could be heard of that?
Yeah, I just don't think it's necessary in the game. Have somebody come off the line and take somebody out when they've got the eyes for the ball, I don't think so.
It's very line ball, isn't it? I mean, the ball was just around there. He was competing for it. It'll be interesting to see how they call that.
Well, it's certainly within 5 metres of the football, but the guy has no expectation that he's going to get hit off the line of the ball.
Not in the spirit of the competition. What about Leon Cameron, a former player that you had at the Bulldogs?
Yes, well, I just was amazed that he's given this much ground as the best kicker, and what you've got to know in this level of competition is who are the users of the football, and Leon Cameron has an uncanny ability to be able to kick a match-winning goal.
So, as we said at the outset, it's not going to be easy as far as the Dockers are concerned from here. Half-time at the MCG, Sunday football, the margin is 29 points. Blessedly, the rain has eased a bit. Wayne Schwass is just to the right of that face down. We'll be back with more right after this.
There's pieces of you, and yeah, there's...
Tonight, it's the Demons versus the Dogs at the Dome.
This is fantastic stuff.
It's a battle for a place in the 8 when the hot and fiery Demons take on the desperate Doggies. Melbourne versus the Western Bulldogs tonight. Fox Footy Extra.
Want to make big savings on your monthly mobile bill? You can with Telstra. Bring your mobile to Telstra now, and with our rewards packages, you can combine your mobile with your Telstra home phone and save 5% off most mobile calls. Package your mobile and home phone with your Big Punt Internet or Foxtel from Telstra, and you can save a big 10% off these calls. Money you can spend on other things. Call Telstra now to find out more.
Tasty, gutsy, simple food and have a right good laugh at the same time?
Have you got Cressman water?
No.
That's why you haven't got a boyfriend, have you?
Everybody's favourite celebrity chef, Jamie Oliver, is now on Lifestyle to teach you how.
I'm cooking for 4 very tasty women. What I'm going to do is a fantastic twist. Have you ever tried a bit of spotted dick? Ready for it? I've got some beautiful little tarts. You're going to love that.
Get into some Paka Taka. Oliver's Twist, premiering 8:30 Tuesday on the Lifestyle Channel.
The Weather Channel delivers your local weather forecast every 10 minutes throughout the day, and Australia's current temperatures every 5. Because when you need to, know first. The Weather Channel.
Saints fans flooding the switchboard. Hi, Kevin.
G'day, guys. How are you?
Kevin, good, mate.
On the weekend, I saw a couple of times young Bates and Hayes. You ran past a couple of times, and you were going to give the handball, but you didn't. You had a shot. Do you ever get told off by the coach or your teammates for, maybe hogging it a little bit?
I think this might be Lenny Hayes actually putting on a bit of a fake.
Is this Lenny Hayes calling in?
Voice, I think. Yes, Lenny or Brad, whatever your name is.
Is that you, Lenny?
No, Kevin, mate. Kevin from Frankie.
Oh, sorry, Kevin.
See you tomorrow, mate.
Thanks, Jeff.
We can see the city at last, which is good news, as I say. 29 points the margin of the major break. It's the Tigers on top. The rain just light now after what was torrential rain approaching half-time as we head down towards the boundary. Now, if the Richmond station is looking for a missing Mac, we've got a police lineup of 1. There he is. He did it.
Well, the rain's not too bad, Dennis. It's actually tapering off somewhat. It's put a couple of dents in the noggin. But nonetheless, don't say our local constabulary don't go that extra yard for us patrons. I've been well supported by the police here. Nothing to report from the Fremantle Dockers rooms at this stage, but we will do our best amongst the rain to keep sedated.
Good on you, Wayne. Well worked. There's more to come, I think. And the Dockers, as we said, wouldn't be happy with this situation. And the numbers, well, they're not that far apart. It's a question of usage as much as anything else.
I think also the contested possession, 11 difference at this point in time. I think Richmond have just been a little bit tougher around the football. Certainly Fremantle have been able to get their hands on the ball as much as what Richmond have. But you can see that first use of the ball has Richmond getting the ball inside their 50-metre zone more often than what Fremantle have been able to do.
2 other games being played today. I think you know the routine. If you don't want to know the score, we'll have a look at those in just a moment as we take a peek inside the Tigers' rooms.
They'd be fairly happy with the way things have been going at this point in time.
There can't be timing. We peek and they all move out. Everybody is shy down there in those Richmond rooms. Those 2 games I was talking about, if you don't want to know the score, replays are scheduled around various networks. Look away now. So it's half-time here at the MCG. Hopefully the rain stays away for the second half. I don't like our chances. It's the Tigers by 29 points. Back with more right after this.
You're leaving me no questions.
Bouncing Burton's out, but Big Baz is in. Today, Sydney versus Adelaide. A struggling Swans clash with a smart Crows team. Are they ready? Find out today here on Fox Footy Extra.
The Nissan Pulsar is famous for being only 19,990 and for being loaded up with features. Now we're giving the 19,990 Pulsar a very big feature. A 1.8-litre engine. The 1.8-litre, not 1.6, 1.8-litre Pulsar. Now in the 19,990 with air. Big engine, little price.
Want to make big savings on your monthly mobile bill? You can with Telstra. Bring your mobile to Telstra now, and with our rewards packages, you can combine your mobile with your Telstra home phone and save 5% off most mobile calls. Package your mobile and home phone with your Big Punt Internet or Foxtel from Telstra, and you can save a big 10% off these calls. Money you can spend on other things. Call Telstra now to find out more.
With the light heavyweight belt vacated, one champion will emerge as a world title elimination begins.
You're going to see it all here on main event. We're going to bring out the best guys and I will knock them all out.
Paul Hurricane Briggs steps up to take the test against Jorge Castro.
Paul Briggs, stand and be counted.
You want to start something? Do it here. Briggs, Castro, a main event replay tonight 6:30. To book, call your service provider.
This month on TV1, have we got a mega month of marathons for you? When backed by popular demand, we bring you every side-splitting episode of Jerry and the Gang in Get Out. It's a Seinfeld marathon.
Oh, baby.
And get a heap of hocus pocus when the Sisters 3 weave their world of magic in the TV1 Marathon of Charm.
That would be so great.
Then confine yourself to barracks, because TV1's going back to the beginning with those comedy commandos in our Hogan's Heroes Marathon.
I think it's pretty good stuff.
And Samantha's just twitching to get in on the action with a must-see marathon of Bewitched.
I just love that.
Then say ta-ta to reality when TV1 takes you back to the birth of Bizarre with our ultra-sexy Lex Marathon.
I will fulfill your desire.
And if that's not enough, check out the TV1 premiere of Jack, Tom and the all-star cast of the courtroom thriller A Few Good Men.
Impressive, huh?
So strap yourself in for the best TV in town this month on TV1 Channel 1.
Western Bulldogs ruckman Luke Darcy spill more blood for his club when his contract runs out at the end of the year? Find out. He joins Jared, Mike and Robert live on the couch 8:30 Monday night on Fox Footy Channel.
Takes your places you just gone. Ride the wave and sail further from home.
Well, there were some celebrations for the Dockers, but they were short-lived. The Tigers by 29 points, 9-5 to 4-6. Look at that. footage of this. Heading to Hollywood for the sequel to The Perfect Storm, I think. It is a tough one. That young man, heeding Mum's advice, stay inside. He was actually playing half forward in the Auskick game and didn't get a touch, so he just thought, I'll stay dry and dash off the ground.
I've had a couple of footballers that pop out out of some unusual spots like that in games.
Oh dear. Tigers back out on the ground, as are the Dockers, who came out a few minutes earlier. Not exactly praying for rain there, are they? Praying for it to be a little bit drier in the second half. Their lifetime record here at the MCG since they joined the AFL in 1995 is not good. This is match number 15. They've won one.
Well, it's actually a strange anomaly, isn't it, that the Western Bulldogs played Richmond last week at the Telstra Dome. You've got Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs playing over there today, and the Dockers are playing here. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Wayne Schwass has resurfaced downstairs, and oh, Wayne, you're loving it.
I'm absolutely loving it. Who says that I'm not missing playing football, certainly in these glorious winter football conditions? But nonetheless, it's absolutely teeming down here. There's a lot of water on the surface. You would think 29 points in front Richmond at half-time. It'll be a hell of a big effort for Fremantle to come back.
Wayne missed the Boundary Riders union meeting at half-time. They are not going to stay out there for too much longer. But can the Dockers turn it around? 29 points, the deficit. There's the surface water. Shades of Augusta National from the opening round, Dennis.
Yes. Play 36 holes in one afternoon.
Before they start, Desi Headland's obviously been given the job at half-time to go with Wayne Campbell wherever he goes. He's starting in the back line.
Not a bad idea, maybe as much as anything else, to get Headland into the game.
Absolutely.
Simmons, waterlogged as we start this second half, and Stafford has been good. There may be interest in his conduct during the week. Remains to be seen. Start of the second half then at the MCG. Tigers on top, 9-5 to 4-6. Umpire tosses it up. Stafford gets it on the way down. Cook in trouble. The meat and the sandwich too. Eventually fed out to Tivendale from Blumfield. The kick comes down towards half forward. Pitches in the water. Don't often see these sorts of scenes at AFL football anymore. Headland couldn't control the footy, and it goes across the line.
No, well, obviously the ground being so dry and so much rain, we've got a lot of surface water, and it's going to make it very, very difficult for the skills of the game.
Look at that. It's like a time warp as it's knocked down by Simmons. Reminds me of the 56 grand final, wasn't it? You blokes probably can't remember back that far. Here at the MCG, Collingwood, Melbourne in 56. Clint, don't look like that.
I know the Demons got up from history, Dennis.
No, not even I can own up to that one, Dennis.
I had no idea. I remember I got wet.
And it's wet today. It's the Tigers by 29 points, 9-5 to 4-6. Brave / silly spectators still out in the outer. Stafford and Simmons. Simmons wins it down. This is Hayden, dragged off it by the tenacious Fleming, who's given away the free kick. Age 25, so he's relatively old-age debutant, and you sense his eagerness today to throw his weight around as Newman fists it over for a boundary throw-in.
Well, the Tigers will be happy just to have it bottled up and just play a scrum style of game. I mean, they don't need to be free-flowing and trying to kick any big scores now. They just want it to be an arm wrestle. And I think they're going to get it.
I think that's just about certain. They might only need another 1 or 2 goals for the match to secure it as Stafford wins it down for Coughlin. Hazelby trying to get involved. Very quiet in that second quarter. Toe poke by Farmer. Chaffee. Hilton. Good tackle, Crow. Can the Dockers break clear? Haynes sending it towards midfield. Medhurst with a long sleeve jumper. Pressured by Zantuck, who did very well and found Rogers with a hand pass. No mean feat today in the conditions, but the hurry kick forward is taken by Simmons.
Simmons at centre half back then. And the rain driving down again. A break at half time. That was about all. Gaspar could have been pushed in the back. He's going to get a free kick. Have to be in front now.
Played an excellent game, Gaspar. He virtually hasn't given Crow any opportunity all game.
So eagerly sought by the Dockers 2 seasons ago. Here's Stafford confronted, gets a hand pass over the top. Zantuck on the outer side, goes down inside the 50. Almost a good mark to Cameron, missed it. Hadrell, hand pass, too slick for Bell. In trouble, Roden took him down. Interesting disposal, close to the line. Headland did well in a tight awkward situation. Well done by Grover. Got it across. I think it was Bell who got a boot to it. Hazelby was up. Spills back to support. Kicked around the outer side by Hadrell. And is that on the full? It may well be. Zantuck to bring it back in. 59-30. There's the bench for the Tigers.
Yes, you're told you're starting on the bench for the second half and you say, oh damn.
It'll be interesting to see how Hazelby goes in this half. He obviously had a fantastic game last week and got hurt from that knock just before quarter time and really didn't have a touch, but the art of a great footballer is one who can fight back when he's injured.
Simmons wins it down. Rogers just paddles it to Bowden. Hurries one for Hall, couldn't bend down to pick it up, neither could Fleming. Hacked out of midair by Bowden. Look at this soccer from Campbell. Stops in the goal square. They slide all over the place. And Fleming is going to kick his first goal in league football.
And the boys are absolutely celebrating.
Well, remarkable scenes this, Terry Wallace.
Well, once again, you just got to get numbers to the football. Wayne Campbell's had about 3 or 4 shots today where he's had the opportunity. You see the two Fremantle players both finishing on the ground. You can't slide, must keep your feet, and that's what the Tigers did.
Clinton described him as the elderly debutant at 25, immediately after I was talking about the 56 grand final. No malice intended. We're back in the middle, 10-5, 4-6, tossed up. Simmons knocks it down. McManus wide of the pack, slips a tackle, smothered off the boot. Bowden soccers off the ground down towards half forward. Impossible conditions these. Over the football is Fleming, dragged down there by Cook, held down, and blessed relief the umpire says he didn't knock it out. Tough call, but we'll take it under these conditions. Walker on the wing.
The umpires have got a responsibility to keep the ball moving a little bit in these conditions, or otherwise we'll just have scrums all over the place.
That was the rationale behind that last decision, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Here's Crow down towards right half forward. Kicks inside the 50. Coming up the ground, Farmer. It did bounce. Almost a mark. He's claiming it. It wasn't. It was a half volley. Longmuir down towards the pocket. I would have socketed it. Paul Hazelby goes over his shoulder and across the boundary line. Farmer can't believe it, but I'm sure it did touch the ground and skidded on. And Hazelby in two minds as he ran to that one. The temptation was to soccer it, but he's a skilled player and generally backs his skills. Well, on second look, so much for my confidence.
Hard to see out of the window here, though, with the rain teeming down on it, as that won't travel the required distance, and it's over for a boundary throw in for our Melbourne audience who know the streets. Terry Wallace, the windscreen wipers on Punt Road, the young kids who get 20 cents every time you stop at the traffic lights there. I think we need them today here in our commentary box. I'd be willing to pay the 20 cents today.
It's a little difficult, isn't it?
Tigers by 35 points, but the Dockers have pushed it forward here. Simmons for Hazelby, tried to get it to Carr. Tunnel ball style, couldn't control it. Coughlin has been good today towards the wing, gains a 30 or so metres. Hayden, Grover, caught, good tackling Richmond. Roden is caught, shovels it out towards half forward. Campbell for Bowden, get it onto the boot quickly. Excellent spoil provided by Woods, and he'll get a free kick. Some holding on against Fleming.
It was a good contest between the two players. Woods kept his feet very well and handled it well.
And you see the piece of jumper that Fleming was holding as the Dockers clear it towards half back. McManus soccer goes nowhere. Roden for Gasper, for Rogers. From the wing, kicks towards the 50. Pack full. Tough one to mark this. Hall crashes his teammate Fleming. Tigers a chance. Campbell. Kick touched off the boot. Johnson for Roden. Finds an opening. Hurries one towards the goal. He's done it again. The excitement machine for Richmond. Roden kicks his third.
Well, I think that was an inside-out torpedo punch. I don't know what you'd actually call that kick, but again, Richmond just keeping their feet in the contest. You can't charge down the ball. You want one player to win it, ferry the ball out to the next player, and look, that's a magnificent goal, Roden, and he's certainly enjoying it.
Oh, what a great reaction as well in the end from the outside of the boot. One for the highlight reel.
Second-year player, but very much a key to this team now. David Roden with 3 goals, 14 possessions, and well suited by these conditions. Simmons goes up, tries to hook it down. Bell goes in hard, managed to kick it out of there too, if you don't mind. Cook goes off the ground, down towards half forward. Clever by Medhurst. Hand pass comes from Crow. Hilton missed it. Picked up by Gaspar, falling to the ground. This is Tivendale. Very short. Bowden back to Tivendale. Running through half back. Probing, floating kick towards half forward. Headland goes back and takes the mark. Squares it. Simmons. This won't be easy. Simmons, good pick up by the big man. Kicks it up towards the wing. In front, Medhurst. Left it behind. Zantuck to Shepherd. Into Mines with Chaffee. Coming through was Haynes. Sliding in was Johnson. Slapped out by Haynes. Chaffee at close quarters to Cameron. Cameron hard against the boundary line. His career high 35 possessions against the Dockers. He kicks it only as far as Pavlich. Just the defensive side of the wing. 71 plays 30. Tigers on top at home.
Well, it becomes a percentage game now where with the scores being low, if Richmond can keep this up, it's going to do their percentage a lot of good.
Oh, terrific mark. Troy Longmuir in these conditions decides to go wide for Medhurst. And now no one on the mark, thought about playing on, told that he's off, backs himself to beat Zantuck, couldn't get it. Bill Hazelby. And now the Tigers should be able to clear through Bowden. Although bereft of options, so he'll release it out wide for Gaspar. Decides to go by hand to the running Kellaway. Pops it up to the wing. Hand rule, read it well. Hall was peeling off towards the wing, and Danny is not at all impressed. Now, chance for Walker. Sold the dummy nicely there to James Walker, but his kick was hurried, off balance, and to no teammates as Bowden marks uncontested.
Well, Danny might have been impressed with that action, but he'd be impressed with his footy club at the moment. They're playing some good football. They've actually used the ball better today in the wet weather than what they did last week under perfect conditions.
He might have left the car windows down.
Stafford to the attacking side of the wing. Through several hands. Back there. Head down over at Headland. Simmons, McManus. One of the Dockers able to control it there. Hayden. Gee, that was tough by Hall, the big man. Not afraid to get involved at ground level. And like the Auskick game, I fancy we're going to get plenty of bounces here, and we will.
Yeah, it's just going to be difficult work, and you just wonder where Fremantle's going to get their next goal from the way the game's being played at the moment.
Ball up, left half forward for the Tigers. Stafford tries to direct it down with Johnson. Headland jams it on the boot, finds the boundary line and gained about 35 metres.
I think this is good for Headland. I mean, Headland playing in Brisbane was just an offensive player who was getting out of the loop, not getting picked up, and to take him to play on Campbell and learn some defensive skills will be just good for his general balance of his game.
Tossed in, Simmons over the top, found it on the ground, moved it in interesting fashion. Newman could have been taken high. McManus socked it off the deck. Was that a high tackle? Was that? Both of those hurt. Troy Longmuir at the base of all of that. Bit stiff not to get a free kick. In fact, he's getting one. Felt like a dermatologist. That was a good close-up. Down towards half forward. Off hands. It's taken down there by Gaspar. Interesting. Comes back to him. From the outside of the boot. He got it back from Zantuck, and the kick wanders across the ground. Chance for Crow. Goes with the outside of the boot yet again. Hayden did well. Hazelby. Now Medhurst. Pulls it back. How will it bounce? Kellaway. Right on the line.
Frugal as always, didn't want to concede even a behind. Blumfield for Gaspar. Targets Newman, slips past T and Farmer. Bowden about to be caught. Plays for the boundary line and finds it for a throw in.
Newman's been a good solid defender for Richmond. He hasn't had enormous stats, but just doing the job on Farmer and playing a really tough defensive style of game.
Getting cold as well as wet down there. Pillows will be next. Stafford winning it down. Newman was dumped. Cook hurries one inside the 50. Troy Longmuir putting the body on the line. Blumfield for Tivendale. Shrugs the tackle. Gets it up to the wing. And now they can go. Johnson. Only 2 men in the Tigers half of the ground. Campbell and Headland. They go at it again. Campbell clever. Rogers off the ground. Out wide. Slides for a boundary throw, and they were watching David King last night.
I think he had a little better conditions to be working in.
Boundary throw in, right full forward.
Kane Johnson comes right into his own in these conditions. He's a wonderful player in the wet.
Clean possession to Simmons. Kicks it outside the 50. Woods, another tentative. Not so Fleming. Dragged down, tries to knock it out. Eventually it comes to Roden in the grass. But it's Bowden, or is it Coughlin? It's Coughlin who kicks inside the 50. Tackle down there, Cameron. Chance for Pavlich, got to his feet, ran into a dead end. Woods moves it as far as Bell. Bell is immediately claimed by Rogers. Down he goes, and the ball up about 20 metres out from the Tigers' attacking goal, and their faithful are enjoying this as they're applying real pressure to the visitors.
As we saw that tackle count earlier, they're back to being Tommy Hafey Tiger tough here. Pavlich had a couple of efforts to try and get that one away, couldn't. Coughlin again, taking them on. Forcing the issue, Johnson, Simmons, Walker behind. Chance Cameron, Walker, plays for the boundary line, finds it.
Yeah, the pressure's on at all times, and Richmond after the first round are a little bit disappointing against Collingwood in the first round, but the last 2 weeks they've been much more physical in their approach to the game, and they've set the standards today in that area.
Fair to say the Dockers haven't seen conditions like this for a while, unless they took in the aquarium as part of their Melbourne excursion. Roden hurries one forward. Hadrill, even the umpire slipping. Well, he's gained 50 metres, but the Tigers had the wall set up, and Kellaway will fish it out eventually and go wide for Hilton. Second effort, Rory Hilton soccers it over on the bounce for a boundary throw-in.
Yeah, Hilton very frustrated. He was by himself inside 50, but it's just so difficult at the moment to find targets, and Kellaway missed him.
Tick past the halfway mark of this quarter. The Dockers haven't added to their half-time total of 4 goals 6. I can't question their commitment, however. It's just that these conditions will ensure that there'll only be another handful of goals for the remainder. Simmons, forced on by Hayden. Now Haynes. Hall's got him. Did he have possession? Yes, deemed the umpire. Top of the goal square. Headland trying to concede it behind. Campbell working hard. Can Rogers get boot to ball? Bell is there. Forces it out wide. Cleaver Blumfield. Roden. Touch of magic. Not quite. And it's over. Off hands for a boundary throw-in.
Well, we were just hoping that we were going to get a little bit more Roden magic, but not to be on that occasion.
Boundary throw in, right full forward. What a great player he was. Stewie Lowe looking on. Haynes had it, lost it. Fleming likewise. Haynes goes off the ground. Grover in trouble. Well done there by Fleming. Woods, half chance, missed the football. Hall tries to pick it up. Cameron against the flow. Trying to get the ball out of there was Grover. You want hard work. This is hard work. Woods over the football. Cook goes down. After it goes Fleming. He's exhausted. In goes Simmons. And eventually a whistle and a ball up. Campbell, at 30 years of age, and he's 250th, still finds time to get to the base of the pack.
Tigers keeping it in the forward 50. Simmons, try and rectify that from a Fremantle perspective. Troy Longmuir knocking it on. Chaffee. Hall bangs it deep to full forward. Walker got the timely fist. Woods to bring it to the members' side. Boundary line and McManus approaching. And it's over for another throw-in.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Clinton, the ruckman will sweep very well tonight. I mean, the amount of work you do just in your wrestling and pushing and shoving as a ruckman in these conditions probably multiplies by tenfold.
And right now, Richo thinking probably not a bad afternoon to have off. Rest that cheekbone for Easter Monday.
You wouldn't want to be playing with a cheekbone in this.
No. Carr, Woods, Pavlich towards the middle. Kane Johnson slides. Now Bell, can he get him and go? Gets by Hilton. Dockers have an open forward line, but the only man there to chase it down will be Gasper. Farmer is looming. He's going to get him. Good work by Gasper. Found Newman with the hand pass. He finds Pettifer, and the Tigers can clear.
Pettifer with a bit of height to Hilton. He's a centre half back. Off his step. stretching, Chaffee, and that's one thing about these conditions. You can take nothing for granted. A couple of Dockers slowed down, thinking Chaffee was going to mark that one. Not slowing down that time was Haynes. Smothered the Pettifer kick. Well done, Haynes. He knocked it out. Bell is in there. Pettifer crashes into him. Jarred loose. Hilton gets a hand pass away. This is Chaffee with the right boot. Lovely kick. Precise. Tivendale can kick it a long way. 55 metres out. They'll compete about 5 metres out. Campbell, the leap, admonishes himself for dropping the mark, but there are no easy marks this afternoon. No, that's all very heavy.
And even Tivendale's kick, I mean, you normally see Tivendale run in and kick a goal from that position, but you're only going to get virtually half the purchase on the ball.
There's headline as the Tiger fans appeal to say he was outside the goal square when he kicked. You called it on us earlier, Al. Grover for Pavlich. Bowden the harassment. Simmons, though, will gather. Put Grover under some pressure. Rogers with the smother. Gee, plenty of courage being shown. Coughlin there initially. Roden, can he keep it in? He cannot. Tiger fans enjoying it. Was Headland over the line? You be the judge. I think if you wanted to get technical, you could probably say that should have been a bounce. Simmons hurries one away. Stafford just ensuring that he put himself between the ball and his Docker opponent. The force of throw in as Fleming takes a break.
Well, I think the Tiger midfielders have been the better all day, and even in the wet, sloppy conditions. Not that there's been a true indication, but the ball spent most of the time inside the Richmond end.
Campbell over his left shoulder, down towards the pocket. Pettifer leads back in the race. Out of bounds yet again.
So it's virtually been Richmond midfielders winning it and sending it in, and the Fremantle Dockers defenders then bringing it back out. So it's almost been forced to be played in the Richmond half.
Simmons stepping around him. Hall comes back to Simmons. Miscued. Bell put the body in, as he always does, and that ball's not coming out. He's penalised for holding it. Well, I thought I counted 3 hands on that footy. Watch it again. Well, these are grey areas, my friends. We don't see much weather like this.
Yeah, look, it's tough. And the problem with that one was when you're laying on your back, it is so difficult to do anything with the ball. He's just hanging on for grim life. There's no doubt that he didn't try to get the ball out, but when you're laying on your back, it's pretty difficult.
Now the towel has been used on the footy. Blumfield will kick from just inside the 50. I thought they outlawed the towel. Blumfield with something akin to a dry ball. But the problem was his plant foot slipped and the ball only went about 25-30 metres, eventually off hands and across the line.
You just really do wonder where Fremantle are going to get their next goal from. There's not a Fremantle player over halfway on the ground.
Pavlich hurries one forward. Now Crode coming out, caught illegally, will get a free. So the Dockers in arguably their best field position for the last 5 or 6 minutes. Crode, long ball towards McManus, held off Tivendale. Can he shovel it out to Hazelby lurking? Troy Longnew there as well. Tigers not getting it out, are they? Bowden does well. Rogers, and they can bring it to the members' side. Tivendale finding Pettifer. Chops it up towards Newman. Well weighted ball. Newman to Coughlin, and that will be paid, particularly on a day like today, as Houlihan replaces Cameron. Coughlin goes for Roden. Made him work. Takes it too far out to score. 43-point lead for the Tigers. Fremantle haven't scored this term. You see the time remaining. Roden drives it to the top of the square. Tough one to mark. Houlihan dragged down by Brown. They hailed the cab. Nothing forthcoming. And with 4 minutes remaining in the third quarter, we'll have a bounce deep in the Tigers' attacking zone.
Well, that was an excellent build-up by Richmond. I mean, it was one of those where they've hit targets on 4 or 5 occasions, which is not easy to do.
Sandilands knocked it down. Hazelby kicks it. Still inside the 50. Taken by Rogers. Gets a bit of purchase on that. Driving Carr right back against the line. He takes the mark between the posts. Margin 43. It was 29 at the major break. Carr from the goal square to the defensive 50. Sandilands tries to help it on its way. So to McManus. Bowden, nicely worked Bowden. Haynes sockers it back at him. Ricochets off Bowden and goes out of bounds.
When you're the coach of the side that's losing in this situation, it's very frustrating because you want to have some influence in the game, but realistically in these conditions all you can do is just allow your players to play.
I think Sandilands on the ball. It's a good idea at this stage given the way it's being played. Now that ball slides across the line with Rory Hilton.
You would think with so many ball-ups and throw-ins he should be able to get first hand on the ball, providing that he doesn't allow them to get body contact.
Once more they battle. Stafford won that one. Kane Johnson went to ground. Campbell, brilliantly done. Slipped it away, Roden. Well done, Hayden. Got him down and again by young Hayden. Knocked it away from an opponent. And the ball goes towards the boundary. Johnson tries to keep it alive. Trying to back heel is Hilton. Socket off the ground by Houlihan. Then goes Hazelby. We're seeing it all. Coughlin tied up, taken down. And we'll have a ball up. Roger Hayden was terrific in there a couple of times. Against some experienced campaigners.
Well, this team's changed. I think that realistically now that they have got some good wet weather players and some good in and under players, the Tigers. Once upon a time that was an area that they weren't known for.
Sandilands with the ugly looking dance with Greg Stafford, and he's given away a free kick. Stafford would have to kick from about the 45. And in these trying conditions you fancy it's going to be against him. They've got the towel out again as we have another look at a little tango.
Yeah, well, they've called them all day. I think that's probably about the fifth or sixth over the shoulder type scenario inside 50. So all you can ask from the umpires is that there's some sort of consistency or continuity in the way that they're calling the game.
Blumfield coming off, holding his left shoulder there. We might get Wayne to check that one out as Tim Fleming, the replacement. We're behind the kick now then. From Greg Stafford. A goal. He's going to take on Sandilands and lost it. Well, in the NBL they say the big men shouldn't dribble. In the AFL I fancy a similar sort of scenario should unfold about taking on the man on the mark. Well, everyone could smile about it, and
I don't know which of the two of them had the most fun then.
That's why dinosaurs became extinct. Just inside the 50 for Richmond still. 43 points the lead. Henlin splits the pack open here with a long ball for McManus. Can he run onto it? Clever soccer off the ground. Gains 30 metres. He'll chase it down and do it all again. Gains another 30 metres now. Crode and Gasper. Gasper sends it towards the line. And it will be taken over for a boundary throw in 55 around from the Docker goal.
What was he thinking? Greg Stafford.
Well, the Dockers haven't scored in this term. Tossed in. Sandilands, hand to it. Campbell couldn't control it. Flings it out of the pack, and I think it's going to be penalised as a throw. It is. It's coming back to Hazelby, who certainly has gone out of the game since that heavy knock from Tim Fleming.
Yeah, well, the midfield of the Richmond side's been the much stronger right throughout the three quarters of the game so far.
Well, actually, Crode finished up getting the free kick. Kicks it inside the 50. Hilton sockers it. And got good contact. It goes out of bounds at right half back.
Tiger supporters should be really quite happy with what they're seeing now. Coughlin, Roden, Campbell, Johnson, they are legitimate players who put their head over the ball and go in and win it. That really will suit players like Bowden, Tivendale and Fiora that play around the edges.
Sandilands tied up there by Stafford. How will they call it? Sandilands to get the free kick. Stafford can't believe it. I'd watch him very closely if I were Greg, because no doubt Sandilands thinks he's a little more nimble than Greg is and may take him on. Here comes the kicker towards half forward. Chaffee missed it. Charging in there was Brown. McManus, there's a whistle. Advantage is paid. McManus hooks it back and kicks a goal. Well done by the Dockers.
Well, virtually it almost looked like most of the players stopped, but not Sean McManus, and took advantage of the opportunity that was given to him and made the most of it.
First score for the quarter for Fremantle. And clever of McManus, heard the whistle, kept on going, thought I'll have a crack at this. Another casual glance at the umpire, and suddenly it's all clear. Well, the Dockers have gone down in the quarter, albeit by only 8 points, but they've still got a lot of work to do. 37 points the margin with half a minute remaining in the third. Haynes down back. Cameron shoveling it forward, likewise Fleming. Hayden pushed off it. Dockers with numbers. Grover has Bell in support. Boundary line might have been his best friend. He'll be happy with a bounce though, because that'll ensure that the clock will keep on ticking and we might be done with by way of scoring in this third quarter.
Well, the inside 50s in the game are starting to blow out now with 49 to Richmond and 35 to Fremantle. I think what Fremantle are trying to do is clog it up and then get an opening and almost a rebound style of effect where they've got an open forward line.
So that will conclude the third quarter. Tough conditions for football. A good return for the Tigers. Goals for Roden and Fleming. You assume icing the issue for them. Three-quarter time, it's Richmond 11-7, leading the Dockers 5-6.
The margin was 8 points at quarter time, 29 points at half time. So Richmond building on that in terribly gloomy conditions here at the MCG, the skyline of the city of Melbourne.
The Demons versus the Dogs at the Dome.
This is fantastic stuff.
It's a battle for a place in the 8 when the hot and fiery Demons take on the desperate Doggies. Melbourne versus the Western Bulldogs tonight. Fox Footy Extra. On a mission to London, they're bringing out a secret weapon. You have a sister? Jackie Chan, Owen Wilson, Shanghai Nights.
You must work out.
What would you do if you won 1 million cans of Jim Beam and Cola?
Well, I'd get advice immediately, have a bit of fun now, then I'd have to be sensible, put some away for the future. Can you imagine what that'd be worth when I retire?
It's the big white car that makes dreams stay true.
It's the unmistakable sound of 5-time Grammy Award winner Norah Jones, live and intimate with MTV.
The sound that I love is a sound without a lot of digital things and electronic.
This is the lady the world is talking about.
Come away with me,
Norah Jones in concert, 10:30 Thursday, MTV.
Hello, is this on?
Hollywood and beyond on our favorite movie channel. Big screen magic put us to the test on our favorite movie channel.
Yeah, I'm out.
Your secret's safe with me. Okay, Beth, I'm ready.
When you're looking for the very best in movie entertainment, make sure your choice is Movie One.
You know who this is?
I can't hear you.
What do you want me to say?
There's someone else.
It's the one place that gives you what you like, exactly the way you like it.
Where is my family?
I'd like you to make a hat for me.
Movie One really is something worth singing about.
Hollywood and beyond on our favorite movie channel.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
This April on Sky, it's the Autumn Carnival at its very best with 12 Group 1 races. Sydney takes the spotlight with autumn's biggest highlights. The Golden Slipper at Rosehill Gardens, followed by the Derby and Doncaster at Royal Randwick. Harness Racing's premier event, the Inter-Dominion, comes to us live from Addington in New Zealand. And one of Greyhound's greatest races, the Golden Easter Egg, also happens this April. The Autumn Carnival of Champions live on Sky.
Sky News, Australia's news channel. White Line Fever. It's got everybody talking.
Thank God your show's back on. Fox Footy Channel's like lifeblood to us up in Sydney.
After last year, I can guarantee there's only one thing on my mind this year.
Let's get the calls. Anthony Rocker seems to be out of breath all the time and doesn't do much until you're going to pick up his act.
Did you see the grand final last year at all?
Well done on kicking that winning goal on Sunday because I tipped Melbourne. I was very late.
White Line Fever. Talkback Television. Live Monday to Friday on Fox Footy Channel.
Already down as one of the magic moments of the season, that. Fantastic in the third term. But the Tigers continue to lead here. It's 11-7-73. The Fremantle's 5-6-36. David Roden has booted 3 goals. Hard to see them getting back from here, the Dockers. I mean, they're going to the scoring end, but the weather has really closed in around Melbourne. The rain has eased, but very trying conditions. 2 other games being played this afternoon, one interstate and one at the Telstra Dome, so it's unlikely either would be affected too badly by the weather. If you don't want to know the scores, look away now.
Sit in the car, I'm watching a film cage. Standing at back page, I'm looking at
Okay, Terry, what do you do now to roll the dice if you're the Dockers? Just kick it long and try and force the issue?
I don't think they'd have much other choice than to do that. What I would be looking at doing is putting a few of my key players up in the forward zone, just so that if you do get possession of the ball, put all your young boys around the footy, put all your key players up the forward line so that at least you've got some quality.
Let's see what they can muster.
Kerry, very difficult conditions. The game's probably out of reach. What was Chris's message there at three-quarter time to the troops?
Just to surge the ball on, don't overuse the handball, just try and get it, just play yardage footy. That's all you can do in these conditions. Yeah, it's probably, with the game would be out of reach.
Wayne Schwass down on the boundary. Kelly O'Donnell. Meanwhile, back at the game, this is Fleming taking a slide, gaining about 10 metres. Coughlin kicks inside the 50. Woods, full chested across half back, swings it out very wide towards the wing, sliding. Headland, good mark.
It's been better since half time.
Yeah, just struggling for form, but it's starting to come slowly. Simmons has it slide off his chest and go out of bounds, but as we said earlier, nothing can be taken for granted in these sorts of conditions. That time, once you turn side on to the ball, ever so slightly, it can slip across. Need to get full chested front on. Tossed in the attacking side of left centre wing. The Steiner recliner. It came behind, smothered off the boot. The boot of Bowden. It goes towards the boundary line. Bowden goes again. And it will be tossed in.
Not that we saw a lot of score in the third quarter, but I'd just like to see Fremantle get a little bit more first hands on the ball in this quarter. Thought they allowed Richmond to do all the attacking. Not that they were able to get through that regularly, but it just never looked likely that Fremantle was going to score.
The push and shove continued between Stafford and Sandilands. This is Gasper being dragged down. Newman from half back. High ball towards the wings. Sandilands doubling back. Cameron the good spoil walking near the boundary line. Risky gains 3 or 4 metres and forces another boundary throwing.
Well, that's where you need to protect the back of your opponent. Sandilands was able to take a chest mark there. If Walker just had it protected his back, he allowed Leon Cameron to lead up to the ball to create a spoil.
Stafford anchors the front position for Rogers. Hurries one towards half forward. The bounce or the skid in port. Hall off the ground will go and chase it down, but it's coming back to the Dockers. And a trip. The call. Haynes will take the free kick. 37 points their deficit. Although even the coaching staff, as we heard Kelly O'Donnell virtually conceding the points of the Tigers today. Haynes towards centre half forward for Hazelby. Had a good first quarter. Copped a knock just before quarter time. Quiet since. Feeds Crow. Goes long. Carr takes it on the bounce. Gets by Gasper and Hilton. Hurried left foot snap and hits the base of the goalpost. That would have been exciting.
Well,
from Matthew Carr.
At least they're having a crack now. They look more likely at the start of this quarter than what they did almost throughout the whole of the third quarter. It's interesting that they have done so. They put Pavlich on the ball, taken Headland from the back line and put him forward again to at least try to kick a score.
Tivendale drives it outside the 50. Medhurst. That was a gutsy mark. Top one for his quarter.
And Stafford once again making his presence felt.
Yes, Medhurst having a word. That hair looking a little worse for wear, and so too the chin, as the kick comes back in towards the middle. Off hands Newman hurriedly, only as far as Pavlich, took on the tackler. Coughlin, well played, bounces to his feet, comes across towards McManus, took a swing at it. Coughlin almost sat on it. We've got a whistle, and the ball up just inside the 50. Very much there, Coughlin, like that cork in the ocean. He went to ground, bounced to his feet, and then finished up on the deck again. That's interesting once more. They could have their very own tape by midweek. Another scramble, and I think we'll get another ball up.
Well, he's a big man, Stafford, and he does meet the players a little higher. You know, a smaller player, he meets them obviously higher in the head region, but he's got to be very, very careful with.
I'm not passing judgment. I just think they will look.
The biomechanist has just taken notes, saying thanks, Terry. Stafford to try and clear, can't do so. And, well, that was creative, if nothing else. Carr off the ground, some holding, a Dockers free kick. And perhaps within range, although given the conditions, nothing's for granted. Troy Cook, the recipient.
Well, Troy's not really noted for his long kicking abilities either, so in the wet conditions, he should be able to make this, but it'll test him.
Tigers clever with Stafford on the mark. Has it got the carry? No! Touched on the line. Not going their way. A poster and a touched on the line behind in the opening 5 minutes of the final term.
But they have looked more likely. I mean, it's going to be difficult conditions from here on in, but at least the ball's being played up their end at the moment.
Bowden to himself, runs to the pocket, and then goes for distance around the outer side. Plenty of Dockers out there, and that's a good wet weather grab. Sandilands. That ball sticking cleanly. Kicks it back inside the 50. Simmons had it fisted away by Kellaway. Camped in front. Hazelby in the square, turning around. Headland kicks from point blank range. They get their second goal of the half.
Well, it was a lot better well done by the Fremantle side. They were virtually overdue for that goal. Had a couple of opportunities and nailed that one. Headland, just smart play, just sifting off the back of the pack and allowing his Richmond opponent to come to where the ball was. Hazelby worked hard to get right into the action, and we see Desi sitting all by himself in the goal square.
And relieving some frustration by putting it in the top deck. Two in a row for the Dockers, bracketing the three-quarter time siren. Brings them back within 29 points. And I guess you never know. Medhurst off the ground after that heavy knock. Collision with Greg Stafford, who wins it down here. Crode will run onto it. Soccer them up towards the 50. Zantuck under pressure. Got it away to Rogers. Caught. Hazelby with the tackle, but Rogers did well to get it away and find the boundary line for a throw in.
We can do no more in the coaching box than what Fremantle have done at three-quarter time. They've got a couple of strong bodies in Pavlich and Crode on the ball. Simmons down forward. Really got the forward line structured up with all their quality players, and that's all you can do, and you've just got to leave the rest to the boys.
Stafford for Campbell has had a good one in his 250th. Pettifer goes early, lands heavily. Carr had to wait for a moment. Now Bill, not too many options, goes long, attacking side of the wing. In the back, Dockers free. Hazelby will take it. And they are much more impressive here. 1-2 early. In the final quarter, Hazelby to Simmons. One grab, not the second. Campbell there to mop up. Towards the wing, Fremantle with numbers. Blumfield hovering over it. Pavlich hails the cab. And it's a throw against Blumfield, so the free kick count going the Dockers' way. Pavlich goes quickly. Long ball inside the 50. Getting back Stafford. Kellaway's teammate with the spoil. Oh, Crode goes without it. Had half a chance too. Campbell for Pettifer. Now Hilton. Quickly to Zantuck, about to be caught. Farmer, bash and crash football now. Close to the boundary line. Hazelby keeps it in. Dockers still a chance. Persisting. Crowd. They're a show. Headland steadies. Misses.
Yeah, he hasn't perfected that inside-out torpedo pump that David Roden has. It's a tough shot for goal, but they're peppering it now. At least they're having a real go. Hazelby's had some good possession of the ball in this last quarter. Come back into the game again.
Timmendale short to the pocket. This is Newman. Here's the Dockers have kicked a goal, hit the post, and one touched on the line, plus Headland there, and maybe could have given it to the man running alongside. Here's Chappie, taken down by Hayden. Pettifer. Houlihan with a high ball towards half forward. Hadrill dropped the mark. Sockers off the ground. Coughlin chips inside the 50. Bowler bounce. Well, the Tigers seem to bounce. He was pushed in the back, and Fleming will get the free kick. Haynes can't believe it. Both running back with a flight of the footy there. And Fleming worked his way in front.
Well, we just have a look at the replay of this, and look, there was no doubt that just lost balance, and the free kick was on.
So Fleming.
Once again, they've been pretty consistent with their calls inside 50 all game.
The man who crashed into Paul Hazelby, after being on the ground for only a few seconds, going at his second goal. Not a bad debut. 40 metres out. Slides it across the front of goal. Coughlin had it, lost it. Bell's got him. I think it's bounced through. I think it bounced over Sandilands. That's something. Goal. Mark Coughlin.
Well, he's been one of the very best Tigers today. He's done a wonderful job in the midfield all game. A real tough nut who gets in and under, and as we see here, right in the action, right where you want to be as a midfielder, and very lucky bounce to get over the head of that bloke at any time in Sandilands.
He was appealing for it. Ooh. Another break goes the Tigers' way. Coughlin bouncing one through, and you fancy it's seen off the last of the Dockers' resistance. Maybe not. Walker. Hurried soccer forward, lands in the arms of Hilton. High one towards half forward, and helped over the line by Haynes for a boundary throw-in.
I just didn't think in that last goal attempt that Fremantle did enough work on the goal line to actually push the ball or force the ball through. They could have got a point out of it. They allowed the ball to stay alive. In those conditions, Trent Crode was one who actually nearly punched the ball back into play.
Stafford from behind. Sandilands in front, wins it down. Campbell working hard as always. This is Carr, though, on half-back for the Dockers. Hurries the left foot kick towards the wing. Pettifer almost, and it's paid. 2 bites in these conditions, worthy of it being deemed a mark.
I like this player, Kane Pettifer. I just think that if he can start to develop his game, get a little bit of time in the midfield, he'll be a good player for the Tigers.
Third year in the top ranks. Kicks to half forward. Roden shovels one forward. This is Crode back there. About to be caught by Bowden. Kicks it straight back from whence it came. Roden. Will he go to the centre corridor? He's too far out to score. Drops it off to the pocket. And good vision found Bowden. And loose checking from the Dockers. And Bowden can take the margin out to 40 points if he kicks truly.
Well, Bowden can thank Justin Blumfield for this opportunity. As we see, Blumfield just protecting his back the whole way, took Carr off the line of the ball. But it's too simple. I mean, you've got a 2-on-1 situation, 20 metres out from goals. It just shouldn't happen.
Blumfield to provide the marker for Joel Bowden, who's led the way in terms of possessions today with 28 touches. Although, given the conditions since half-time, to a degree irrelevant, some of the statistics. And Bowden, that's a perfect kick. Another one for the Tigers. Bowden's got his second goal.
Well, I'll be very pleased with that. He has had a terrific second half, had a lot of the ball in the third quarter. Joel Bowden, been a consistent player all day. His kicking skills have been up again today, and I think that the Tigers, considering the conditions, have been a lot better with that ability to kick the ball in the wet weather conditions today.
Joel Bowden has bounced back strongly today, 29 possessions, 2 goals. Roundly jeered last week. It was mutiny on the Bowden, but not today. They've appreciated him greatly. Down goes Newman. The kick towards half forward, fisted on its way down towards goal by Fleming. Going back is Woods. Grabs it about 15 metres out. Spots a man, comes to Bell. Walker wants it wider. That's ignored. Long kick. Farmer knocked it across cleverly to Crode. Kicks inside the 50. I'm still worried about Farmer's shorts. The ball about 55 metres out. It's picked up by Headland hurriedly inside the 50. Stopped by Gaspar. There's Farmer again. Missed it. He tracks it. Down he goes. It was a strong shepherd by Hilton. The kick comes out of defence and goes up towards the left half forward, right half forward flank position.
Well, they're only little 1%ers, but we see at one end of the ground where Blundfield looks after Bowden to get the opportunity, and here we have Hilton protecting his player running out of the defensive end of the ground. They've done the 1%ers very well today, Richmond.
Newman appreciating that shepherd, going back and congratulating his teammate. Clever by Coughlin. Walker, though, the beneficiary. Away to Pavlich. Pavlich goes down towards half forward. Plenty of Tigers down there. Rogers touched it. Gaspar goes back. Hasn't got the footy.
And we'll get the free.
Geez, he's been a good player. Been an excellent player today.
Be amongst your boats?
Yeah, for me, it would be yes.
Find Stafford on half-back, who will take some time off the clock, approaching the midpoint of this final quarter. A taxing afternoon. Stafford towards the wing. Sandilands, well done. Got it for Bill. Now Woods. He'll be in the Dockers' best, you fancy. Hurries one inside 50 here. Crummer's required. Gasper head down over it. Simmons with the pressure. Newman the pickup. Kane Johnson to provide the clearance. Well, wide of Campbell. Pettifer will give it to the skipper. Bowden just fends off Bill with ease. Pops it up. Sandilands there. Roden ambitious over the top of the tallest man ever to play league footy. Near the boundary line, and Tivendale just throws it over, and it's paid that way. A Dockers free kick.
I don't think there was any doubt in that.
40 points the margin. Grover sends it towards half forward. Troy Longmuir has struggled to get involved. Campbell another possession. This time feeding Pettifer, who grubbers it, skids it, slides it over the line for a throw in. The kids ignoring their parents' request to go and sit under cover. And just urging on their charges. Freo's travelling circus, well, hasn't been impressive, has it? 15% win ratio on the road in their existence since joining the league in 1995, and that will head a tick further south today. Bell pushed off it by Hilton, and he finds the line. Another throw in, 50 around for the Docker goal.
It's got to change somewhere along the line, Clint. Their ability to be competitive at this level away from home has got to change. We've seen a real improvement in their game over the last 12 months at home, but I know the conditions weren't suited, but do they suit anyone in this day and age?
Seagate did well, got it to Crode, forces a passage, kicks it down towards the pocket, and out it goes. Well, their very first game ever was on this ground against the Tigers, and they lost by 5 points. The Dockers, a bit stiff that day as well, had their chances to win, so here they are, several years on, still trying to string some victories together. Hazelby tumbles, Kane Johnson clears the zone, Walker takes the mark, no he doesn't, spilled it, found it again, gets a hand pass away, comes back to him off Seagate, still Walker battles, picked up by Pettifer, kicked it only as far as Woods. He's about 65 metres out, upended as he kicked, dropped by Headland. I'm not sure what he was looking at or looking for. Appealed for the mark. Eventually Tivendale got it across to Campbell. Campbell kicks it through midfield. Nobody inside this 50, not a player. Haverhill played it pretty well, got it back to Seagate. He's tackled right on the line. In goes Walker. Well done, Fiora. Knocked forward by Coughlin. Roden slides in. Crashing in Blumfield. Tries to knock it out. Coughlin's over the football. And eventually a scramble develops. No lack of work there. And Campbell obviously feeling the effects of a hard knock in all of that.
Well, they did it pretty well. I thought Fiora's efforts and also Roden's efforts to keep the ball alive inside their 50 were very good.
Sandilands and Stafford. Stafford beautifully for Kane Johnson. Sends it towards the goal square. The bounce important and eludes the Tigers. And Admiral's happy to see it through for a behind.
Well, it's something for other sides to look out for. Stafford's ability inside 50 on those ball ups. It's 3 occasions today where he's given a clear passage to his other players.
The margin 41 points. Admiral gains a few metres by chipping to himself. Targets Sandilands, who deflects it down for McManus. Intended for Haynes, and a player slung. And it's going to be a Docker free kick. Medhurst ready to come back on. Cook also present. Pavlich. We'll see out the rest of the game you fancy on the bench. This is Bell shoveling it forward. Tigers work it near the line. Hazelby, well, he's put it out of bounds on the full. Tiger fans happy despite the inclement conditions to watch football on this Sunday afternoon in Melbourne. Zantuck going short, then with the required distance for Fiora on the outer wing. Long ball towards half forward. Good shepherd by Blumfield. Campbell the mark. Kane Johnson the recipient. Keeps it low. Slides it. Close. Bouncing. Oh, winning the foot race. Hayden, well done. Rushing it through for a behind.
Well, Justin Blumfield's not playing great football at the moment. I think he would be the first to tell you that. But he's starting to at least do the little things in the game that helps turn your football around. Just to shepherd again off the ball then, allowing the Tigers to mark the footy. It'll come to him if he keeps working.
Woods kicks in. Bowden, over 30 possessions now. Generally has used it well today. Bounces off the chest of Johnson, that one. Brown taken to ground. Coughlin battles with Brown. Johnson wins the there as well. Now there's a throw called as that ball came out to Kellaway. The man on one knee, I think, was Zantuck. I can't believe it. In any case, it comes to Woods. Off a step, Walker. Forward of left half back. James Walker kicks towards half forward. Gaspar has been such a good player. Knocked it down. Ran on, applied a tackle. Weight of numbers though. Medhurst got it across to Simmons. Well trapped by Rogers to Coughlin. Hand passes away. Scramble forward by Blumfield. Down goes Johnson. Pettifer has it now. Kicks well inside the 50. Hangs a long time in the air. Hayden in trouble. Turn the defence around that last kick. Fleming slaps it out. Well done by Hadrell. Slotted up the ground by Haynes. Picked up by Walker. Gets a hand pass away to Hayden, who wants the boundary hand to a Longmuir. Longmuir's got it. Goes forward of the wing with the kick, and the mark is taken by Carr.
Well, they had some movement going, but Carr takes his time here. Now sends a mini torpedo punt inside 50. Gasper, solid as a rock as always down there. Rogers towards the centre corridor. Clever little knock on to Coughlin. Chips it towards centre half forward. Fleming on the dive. Has he paid the mark? It will be paid. Too far out to score. There's Houlihan calling for it in the pocket. Goes in his direction as we have a look at the mark again. And Houlihan unable to control it. And it's over for a boundary throw in. Blumfield now taking a breather alongside of another new Tiger this year in Kane Johnson.
Well, in 12 months the Tigers have been able to change the structure of their side. They've got Coughlin, Roden, Kane Johnson added to the lineup, and even Fleming coming in as another hard nut. They really have become harder in the last 12 months.
And the pressure off somewhat for Danny Frawley after the opening round loss. Certainly a lot of critics talking about the Tigers, but beating the Bulldogs by nearly 4 goals last week. Now a 7-goal lead on the Dockers, with a match against St Kilda to come on Easter Monday back here. They could conceivably be 3-1 after the opening month of the season. Dockers to try and clear it out wide. Given a nudge was Woods, and he will take the free kick. Fiora not happy about it inside of the final 5 minutes.
I've seen the Tigers live the last 2 weeks, and I've liked what I've seen. I just think that they're having a real go, and they're playing some pretty good football at the moment.
Woods long to a contest. No one conceivably could have hoped to have marked that. Gasper had it knocked away. Finds Stafford. Big tackle by Crode. Richmond free advantage play on. Chaffee to Rogers. Here they go. Rogers to centre half forward. Dockers in front. Good work by Hadrell diving forward, taking the mark on his chest.
Oh, not such good work that time. Into the man on the mark. It spills to Roden, kicking at his 4th. Just wide of the mark. The official attendance today, 19,677. And most of them have had their love of footy tested today. It's been a pretty black day in Melbourne, but the Tigers will come away with the 4 points and they'll be very happy. The Dockers, well, it didn't answer a lot of questions for them early in the game. They were looking okay. Rains came. They've been out of it ever since. In fact, just before the rains came, in fairness to the Tigers, going back, Tivendale takes a mark. 88 plays 45, just under 4 minutes to go. Tivendale, Pettifer through his fingertips. Carr tracks it back towards the boundary line. Out it goes.
Well, next week against the all-conquering Kangaroos, it becomes a very important game for Fremantle. Back at home, they just can't afford to give the rest of the field a big start, so that becomes a really important game.
Sandilands wins it down. Carr sending it back towards the line. Roden kept it in for King. Now is that in for Campbell? Might have been touched off the boot, in fact. And the boundary umpire not really helping the field umpire there with a call one way or the other. We'll have a boundary throwing.
I think the field umpire was in control. He called play on immediately after the ball was kicked.
Now a discussion. Matthew Carr's claiming it. Not sure whether his thoughts matter all that much with the 2 men in white there. Down to 3.5 minutes to go. Campbell winning it down. Bill unable to control it. Shoveling the handball out and getting a high tackle for his trouble. It will come back to Peter Bell. 17 possessions, his numbers today. Simmons and Carr leading the way with 19 touches for the Dockers. Hayden and Hazelby each with 18.
Yeah, it hasn't been a stellar Peter Bell performance. He's been honest, as he will always be every time he goes out into the ground.
Pavlich long to the outer wing. Almost, not quite. Haynes got it on to McManus. Caught. Gets the handball towards Bill. He'll try and batter it on. Does so. Good work. Justin Longmuir. Just his second kick for the day towards the pocket. Henlin caught behind. Tigers with numbers. We'll have a boundary throw in deep in the Dockers attacking zone.
Well, that's where Peter Bell's at his best. He wins possession of the ball virtually 20 metres out from goals, up the defensive end, and then within a matter of seconds he's won the ball almost on a half-forward flank.
Might have hurt his left hand over the last few minutes. Tivendale to soccer it beyond the defensive 50 and over the boundary line for another throw-in. The Dockers, meanwhile, will be a win and 2 defeats, but they're back at home at Subiaco next Sunday afternoon to play the Kangaroos, who remain unbeaten after the draw last night. 2.5 wins from the Kangaroos opening 3 matches.
It becomes a vital game for the Dockers.
Cluster of players, including that man, surrounding this boundary throw-in. McManus to try and get the clearance for the Dockers. Chaffee, handball too slick for Pettifer. Hayden's been all right. McManus hurries it forward. The mark paid for Brown to Haynes. 52 metres out, he unloads. And grazes the goalpost for the second time this quarter for the Dockers. Another behind.
He was disappointed. I think it would have been his best goal in league footy.
Here's Rogers. Comes away. Close to the boundary line. Fiora arches the back. Needs a shepherd. Thought he had one. Didn't quite. Kick goes down towards half forward. Roden has been a star up in front. Missed it that time. Waiting behind Haynes. Slips a hand pass away. Seagate feeds it back. Walker. Haynes. Deep in his defensive area, Haynes. Inside the last 2 minutes, goes for distance across the ground. Stafford has been good. Got a hand on that one. Arriving quickly. He had the baggy shorts. That was Farmer. Spills across towards Bowden. Missed by Hilton. Coughlin. Campbell. Fitting. Kicks inside the 50. Bounces down towards the boundary. In that pocket. Houlihan delicately. The goal of the afternoon. Kicked it with intent. The goal umpire liked it.
Well, that's basically the cream on the cake for the Tigers afternoon. They've played very well all game, been supportive of each other, used the ball better than they have in recent games, and it's just nice to finish on a high note if you're the winning side. Once again, we see Wayne Campbell with possession of the footy as he's done all afternoon, and a lovely goal.
Terrific finish. You'll see that on the winners tonight, 7:30. All of the highlights from the weekend's round. Join me here on Fox Footy. Unhappy happy way to finish the day for Robert Hadrill. 14-10, plays 6-10. Closing couple of moments here. Stafford winning it down. Can the Tigers bring up the century? Would be a pretty fair result on the sort of day we've had.
Well, an 8-goal victory is a huge victory when you consider that you've only had 46 points scored against you, and doesn't always necessarily matter how much you've kicked. If you can keep the opposition sides to a low score, it really helps your percentage.
Little jump from the 96.7 entering this round up to about the 115 mark, you would fancy, as Carr spirals one up to the 50. Justin Longmuir nudged out of it. Pavlich. Now he had Medhurst peeling off, but he couldn't get the footy, and Tivendale just sends it out wide. Too wide. Out on the full. Docker's free. 42 seconds remaining. Headley to try and set something up. Just bangs it long, and then so, towards the goal square, and Campbell, how fitting, in the final minute of the game. The 10th Tiger ever to reach the 250 game mark. And what a match he's had.
And as he'd miss one of these players that make 250 games, he is just a class act. At times, I don't think people have appreciated just how good he is as a footballer. He's just a wonderful player.
30th possession goes out wide. Dockers have numbers. Simmons for Cook. Getting it on to Bill. Throws it out. And the Tigers will have the ball to finish it off.
Here's Coughlin through the midfield towards the centre circle. Fleming tries to force it forward. Surely a couple of free kicks in there. There's the siren, and Richmond is suddenly back in the mix. The record is 2-1, and their skipper in his 250th, very much a reason why. He'll be cheered off the ground. They were fantastic today. Once the rain came, the Tigers really showed some application and some grunt. And it was Campbell who relished the conditions. A word for the first game. What a contrast there, split by 249 games. Tim Fleming at 25 years of age. Wayne Campbell at 30. And still playing wonderful football. As Terry said at halftime, so often players going down the other side of the mountain at game number 250. Maybe, just maybe, Wayne Campbell hasn't reached the peak. Stafford, very strong. And no doubt Aaron Sandilands learned a bit this afternoon. Danny Frawley has been under a fair degree of pressure as we go down to Wayne Schwass with a man who celebrated a milestone today.
Well, Wayne Campbell, congratulations firstly on a winner, but a terrific effort to celebrate such a good day for you. 250 games are just about a BOG.
It's terrific, yeah. The boys really come to play today. We put together 3 quarters last week, but we really wanted a 4-quarter effort, and I think we pretty much did it. So that's it's always a good way to have a win.
Up against the Saints next week, it's a possible win again. It could be a 3-1 start, which would be a terrific start to the season for you.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. They're going okay. I mean, I know they had a bad loss the other day, but they were terrific against the Crows. So we've got a 9-day break or something now, so we'll rest up for a bit and then get into it.
Well done, mate. Enjoy the day and congratulations again.
30 possessions for Wayne Campbell. Bowden had 33. Coughlin had 27. Really, I guess therein lies the story.
Well, they were just too strong in the midfield, and that's the area of the game that they just took total control of the match. And great to see a player playing his 250th game finish off with 10 disposals in the last quarter of the game, really running the game out.
There were some noises, some whispers a couple of years back that maybe, just maybe, he was on the trade block. And I think some fans thought at his instigation, an article in the paper this morning certainly making the point clearly that he didn't want to leave the Tigers, but if that's what the Tigers wanted, he had to look at it. Here he is, 250 games, going in with the first gamer. Wayne Campbell, sometimes maligned by his own supporters, but gee, the record is just quite outstanding. I think only 2 Tigers have more best and fairests. He's got 4, and as we said earlier, at least twice runner-up. I think it's 3 times. Tiger tough. Well, today was all about toughness, and Terry, they were tough.
Well, they have. They've improved that part of their game. I think there's no doubt that they've made a conscious effort over the last 12 months to get tougher players into the football club. And when you look at Coughlin and Roden, they've added to that straight away. They've gone out to get Kane Johnson and sacrificed a fair bit to get him across from Adelaide. But I don't think he'll let down any of the Richmond supporters.
Well, the Dockers, as I said before, didn't answer a lot of questions today. Paul Hazelby in the foreground, who started so well, got that heavy knock from Fleming. And quite a contrast in the dispositions in the two rooms as we await the best theme song in the AFL. So the Tigers win it by 48 points, 14-10 to 6-10. Matthew Richardson didn't take his place in the team. Not many thought he would, despite the fact he was named on Thursday night with that fractured cheekbone that occurred in that head clash with Scott West at the Telstra Dome last Sunday. Richmond home, 14-10-94. They led at every change, as you can see. It was tight early for about a quarter and a half, the Dockers right there, but then they fell off the pace. 14-10-94. to 6-10-46. And I suppose, in some regard, Terry, the fact that Richardson wasn't there today wasn't a negative.
No, when you looked at actually at the Richmond lineup today, it looked fairly well balanced right across the board. They had mobile players virtually in all areas of the game, and sometimes with football clubs, you can get that conscious of one player or two players in particular that you lose out on having a peripheral vision that allows you to find other blokes in correct positions. And I just thought every time Richmond went forward today, they just purely and simply looked for the best option rather than the only option being Richardson or Ottens in those positions.
Just looking at the Dockers, Wayne Schwass is back in the adjoining rooms, though, the Victors rooms, with the debutant today, Tim Fleming.
Yeah, Tim Fleming, your first game, your captain's 250th, a good experience for you.
Oh, yeah, it's just great to be a part of it. He's been a great player over the years, so, I mean, my first game and his 250, it's unreal. Best bit I've ever had.
From a player's point of view, what's it mean to go out there and win for your captain?
Look, at the start, we were talking about, start of the game, before the game, we were talking about being able to look each other in the eye, being able to look Wayne in the eye, and we can also, we did our job today. Everyone put in as much as they could, and for him too, because we've all got the utmost respect for him, so yeah, no, it's great to be a part of it.
And some players don't adjust to the wet weather, but your game today, you seem to relish the opportunity out there and really seem to take a liking to the wet conditions.
Yeah, I just was pretty excited today, so I mean, yeah, the wet weather helps, I suppose. You can crash and bash footy, but yeah, no, it was good. Skills let me down a little bit, but hopefully I'll work on them.
I don't think you've got too many things to worry about, mate. Congratulations, enjoy the win.
Thanks, mate.
There he is, first gamer, Tim Fleming, formerly at Carlton. And they're just winding down. Some of the Brains Trust just flashing into vision there for the Tigers, men behind the scenes. The Dockers, they're better players. I think Carr, Hayden, perhaps Bell, but not too many. It's a big win to the Richmond Tigers. They win by 48 points, 14-10 to 6-10. Back with more shortly.